Okay.
I just wanted to double up.
Double up?
It's Friday.
Double up Friday?
And we're going to rock you today.
We are rocking you on a Friday. Let's go.
It's hot out there, and we are hot, and sports is hot.
It is a little warm.
You like those?
That's the analogies are just flowing.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Yeah.
We're a 5,000 watt blowtorch. I don't know how many watts the station is.
How many watts are we?
I don't know.
Anybody know that?
That was back in the day.
I don't understand wattage.
I don't know.
You know? It's like meters.
It's some form of measuring power. How about BTU, British Thermal Units? 46,000 BTUs coming at you from Primetime.
Feeling hot, hot, hot.
I'm going to look up our wattage. I'm going to start promoting our wattage.
Well, they used to promote that.
I know, but I don't think we have great wattage. Therefore, I don't think they promote it anymore.
My home station back in the Bay Area did the same thing. They would you could like hear it in Sacramento or whatever, and they'd be like, from a 50,000 kilowatt blowtorch signal or whatever, like
ready to go.
at nighttime, and you could even get it out in Nevada in the desert.
If
You're
you
like,
ever thought
okay,
about
great.
like radio measuring penis size, that's the equivalent of
Wattage.
wattage. You know, you can't listen to that station. They got no wattage over
Bro.
here.
Bro, we're a 50,000 watt station.
And here I was saying 5,000.
Which
like
I don't think is great.
We had micro wattage. 50,000?
I don't think that's great. And
What
then
are you
I
talking
think,
about? That's
well,
great.
it powers down at night, which I think is 5 o'clock, which pisses people off in Salem.
Yeah.
Because they're listening, and then all of a sudden it's only 9,000 watts at night.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So we become watt flaccid after 5?
I think so.
Hey, you know what? How long's the station been around?
Well, this station started in 1968. Remember we talked about this the other day with KWJJ.
Then we can't ask our station to perform at the same level it used to all day, every day.
Well, I know. I think that's why they dialed it down to 9,000
The
watts.
fact that we can still get it up to 50,000 watts, let's not view the negative of 9,000 ladies or men. It's 2025. Let's focus on our ability to still get to 50,000 watts for a significant period of time. I think that's very good. And then maybe we can find some sort of radio pill at night to maybe get us up to like 30,000 watts. So we still feel like we're bringing some good heat.
I'm going to look up highest wattage station. 50,000.
By the way, volts times amps equals watts, even though no one knows what volts
times amps? That's what I thought.
And yet you don't know what a volt is.
No.
Nor do you know what an amp is.
50,000 watts is the highest permitted wattage for a commercial AM radio station in the United States.
Then I want an apology from you that 50,000, you said 50,000 is not bringing the heat.
Well, it's
and
not.
It is.
No, it isn't. Because we're on the AM.
Well, for what we are, we're bringing the
maximum wattage.
We're bringing maximum heat. We're thrusting as hard as we can with the wattage.
Yeah, in single A. Okay.
Well, I don't like. Look at you. Look at you.
Wait.
Are we North Dakota State?
Wait. There's more.
North Dakota. Yeah, like we are the bison.
Like we're just like the big bad epic dynasty of the second tier.
That's what we're doing. And you know what? We'll beat some of the 100,000 watt stations. Wait, is there a 100,000 watt station?
Well,
FM? Anybody?
Let me read this to you.
I can't wait.
In North America, the highest allowed wattage for a Class A FM radio station is. So AM, it was 50,000 watts.
Yes.
For FM, the answer is 50,000 watts.
So look, our watts are as big as anyone's watts.
Yeah. Yes.
You take a backseat wattage to no man.
Now, it says some stations, particularly those with older licenses or in Mexico, may have been grandfathered in and operate under different agreements, potentially reaching much higher power levels like 320,000 watts.
Oh, my God. The Mexicans are doing it better than us.
So
they're dominating us.
If we crank the fan up to 320,000 watts.
What would happen?
What would happen?
Well, I think the government would come for us.
The government?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on?
Can we take our chance that maybe Doge cut that and they won't notice?
He'd probably tell us that if we kept doing it, that there's going to be problems.
Going to be problems.
That would be my. In fact, maybe that's where that clip comes from. Maybe at night we turned it up and Trump got wind of it and was like, "No, you guys aren't doing this anymore."
Well, it's a 50,000 watt AM blowtorch right in your ear.
Yeah.
On a beautiful Friday Northwest day.
Rocking you on a Friday.
Why did I say that?
I don't know. No one knows.
Yeah, big show, I think. Joey Harrington's going to come on today.
Really big show.
You know what we're going to have him do?
What?
He is going to power rank his top 3 meats.
Well, yeah, because when you came in, I was
Rocking you on a Friday. Why did I say
I was
that?
eating some lamb that I was reheating in the commissary over there.
They're
And
eating the pets.
Turns out lamb may be a bit of a controversial.
You were eating the pets?
Yeah, I was eating the pets. By the way, you blew right by. You didn't have a second look. I offered lamb, and you were like,
No, it looked good.
I got no time.
It
for
looked
lamb.
like it was left over from a restaurant, but you said it was homemade, and
That's
I was
homemade.
very impressed by that.
Well,
but no, I did not
Well,
want
you
any.
passed that on to the BTJ. I can assure you that I did not make those delicious lambs. Those were hot honey with like a feta cheese crumble lamb slider.
What was
And,
the lamb? What was the lamb's name?
I think it was Mittens.
God.
little Mittens.
Uh-huh.
Well, I feel bad because I love lamb, but I don't like mutton. So I only like the babies. Which kind of makes me feel like a big jerk. But if those lambs wanted to be alive to make adult sheep, they should be less delicious when they're babies, because lamb is delightful. Mutton, a little chewy.
It's classic Souk, pinning it on the victim.
No, I don't.
Keep doing it.
I'll tell you what, that little lamb, if it could, I'm guessing it would take a bite out of me too. It's called food chain.
You think so?
I don't know.
You think if like humans were the bottom of the food chain,
Well, stuff does.
would we be like served in little turtle restaurants and stuff? Like,
Ooh.
you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
turtles are.
I don't believe lambs eat meat. A lamb would not take a bite out of you.
You don't know that?
I'm pretty sure that they are herbivores.
Okay, well, they're a vegan restaurant, or like.
I like how
We
you
don't have
said,
vegan souk.
I like you said
Yeah.
pretty. You said pretty certain. You don't know?
Well, I mean, if you
I'm
gave a
just
lamb
saying.
dog food, would it eat it? Maybe, but I mean, it doesn't naturally eat meat.
Well, all I'm saying is, if we were the bottom of the food chain, are we served in animal restaurants?
Yes, because look, if you go way back,
Or are we like
No.
what animal don't we eat?
if you go we don't. Well, we eat everything.
We kind of do eat
We
everything,
do.
but are
Just
there
certain places. But if you go other countries, they eat
do
dogs.
we eat
they eat
geese?
Oh, absolutely.
I've
They
never
will eat
had
anything.
I've never.
They're eating the dogs.
Well, if you go way back, I mean, this is about to get uncomfortable, but if you go back into like the early human stuff, we had like the Neanderthals, and then you had like the Denisovans, and there were different groups of early humans. And we don't know a lot about each one of those groups, but what we do know is that when old Homo sapien here came across them, you know what we did? We did two things with them.
We ate them
and we
and we humped them.
and we humped them. So
We humped them and we killed
we
them.
humped them and we killed them. It's what we do. So the answer to do we eat it is yes.
It's insane.
I would like to believe the answer to do we hump everything is no. We hope, fingers crossed. But do we eat it? Yes. Yes, we eat it. And if you go way back, stuff ate us too. We just, we rose up. We rose up the old.
Yeah, there
food
aren't a
chain.
lot of animals we don't eat. Certain snakes, apparently, and puffer fish are avoided.
Well, because it can be very poisonous.
Exactly.
Same thing with the snake. You got to make sure you don't eat the old poison.
So would we have, as humans, developed a toxin in our bodies
Ooh.
if we were preyed upon by pretty much every living thing?
The microplastics.
There you go.
Yeah. See, great. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we were, when you think about us, we're not very strong. We have very soft skin. We don't have claws. We don't have sharp teeth. If we weren't
We're
smart,
supposed to have brains, but
yeah, that's really the only thing we have. Because if we weren't smart, we'd be in a lot of trouble. A lot of stuff out there killing us.
It's chicken.
Yeah.
well, I mean, maybe we wouldn't taste good, and maybe the animal kingdom
Hmm.
would eat steak, a cow, just like
And
we
not
do.
us. Well,
You know what I'm saying?
they do say all the time that
Because maybe we're gross.
very few animals actually like us. We aren't.
Yeah,
like,
they don't
we're-
want to eat us.
No, they don't want to eat us. Like when a shark bites you, it thinks that you're a fat seal, but it usually doesn't eat you. It spits you out. It's just that you bleed to death.
That's kind of dumb. Why don't they just eat us?
And they don't like us.
Well, but I don't think you can be that picky, can you?
Apparently you can.
as a
Well,
shark?
Let me ask you this. Did you eat my delicious lamb slider today?
No.
Why not?
Well, I didn't want it.
Well, the shark doesn't want us.
Well, but sharks are different than humans. Like, I've got food aplenty.
Well, have you seen
Sharks
the ocean?
don't.
Oh, they do.
Well,
It's the
but,
ocean.
I mean, just eat it.
Yeah.
Eat the leg.
Well,
you
look at-
chopped it off. You might as well eat it.
Well, I think you're being very judgmental right now to the shark. They say most of the time that a bear mauls someone, it doesn't eat us.
Yeah, see, they don't They don't really need. Well,
They maul you, and then they're like, "Yeah, I don't need this." And then they move
which
on.
animal is it harder to find food? The shark or the bear?
The bear,
Okay. Well, then they should eat us.
and they usually don't. If a bear does eat you, it's usually because it's starving and it's getting ready for hibernation and it can't find real food. So it takes us. They always say, "Be wary of skinny bears."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're hungry.
Yeah.
It's like those polar bears out there.
Yeah, they say if you find like a well-fed like big bear, obviously it looks scary and it should be respected, but that's not the one that you should worry about. In fact, who was remember, is it Timothy Treadwell, that numbnuts,
Yeah.
the dude that tried to befriend all bears?
Yep.
He found one of the last footage he has is the bears were getting ready to go into hibernation pretty quick, and this moron is filming this adult male brown bear who clearly is malnourished. And he's talking about how it looks sickly and he feels bad for it. And he's getting right up close to it. And any bear expert's like, dude, what are you doing? You got a starving bear over there that can't seem to catch anything. And you're going up to it trying to pet it. Oh, well, I wonder what happened. Yeah, it was like, oh my God. That would be like the equivalent, like if you were starving, like out in the middle of the woods, and like a T-bone just waltzed up to you and was like, hey, feel pretty bad for you. I'm a delicious T-bone, but I feel some sympathy and I'd like to tussle your hair a little bit. Well, guess what? It's happening to that T-bone. My man Timothy Treadwell didn't go so well for him. That bear didn't take him as the protector of anything.
If you were starving in the woods,
Yeah.
and there was a giant, juicy, always hot, sizzling T-bone,
That's pretty good.
medium rare,
Yeah.
sitting there on a plate.
Yeah.
But for every day you went without touching it,
Yeah.
I gave you $1 million. How many days would you go?
Oh, ooh. So I'm starving. How many days can you can go? I go like 10 days.
You gonna go 10 milli?
I
You
I'm
think
going,
you could not touch it? Like,
yeah, I'm gonna be hurting. But
I think
know
the
what-
hard part here is that you might. This is a battle of will.
Yeah, it is a battle.
I would say
Because-
10 and it would actually be 4.
Right.
Yeah, it's-
Right. See, I think by day 4 or 5,
See,
you're
here's-
eating that steak.
So here's where you need to, if you want to throw a real curveball into it, it's this. You don't know, Mrs. Mr. Beast style. I give you $1 million
every day.
every day, but you don't know when the offer gets pulled. So,
Oh,
at
well,
some-
then I'd eat it the next day.
well, that's what I'm saying. At some point, maybe the steak just goes away and the money goes away, and now you're left starving. So, how much do you push being hungry? Because look, you can go a long time. You can go weeks without eating. And if I know that I just have to starve myself for 2 weeks, I can go a long time knowing that as soon as I'm done, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be healthy and I get millions of dollars. The problem becomes if I'm out in the middle of nowhere and I've now gone a week or without food and I'm weak and I don't know if I can get out of there, how much is money worth the risk of me possibly ending up really screwed over? That's where it gets dicey. But I think I can starve myself for the better part of a week to 10 days, knowing that if I did that, I'd never have to work again.
All right. There's your hypothetical for the day. We told you we'd rock you.
Well, it's like when my hypothetical that I've always posed, and I think it's way lower than anyone thinks. If you took your fingers but they were made of chicken fingers,
Yeah.
how long before you have no more fingers? And by the
Or
way,
how many fingers do you stop at?
you
But
don't,
do I still have the dexterity of, like,
no, they're gone.
well, but
Yeah,
but
you're
if they're chicken fingers, I can't really do anything with my hands anyway.
It's normal. Like think about chicken fries. Then you have all the dexterity in your hands, but when they're gone, they're gone.
They act like normal fingers until you try to consume them, and then they're chicken fries.
You know, and so like if you eat one, it's never coming back, and there's no money, and you'd be like, "Well, I would never eat them." I think you would. I think
Pinkies are going for sure.
I think at some point.
Well, ring finger maybe.
And by the way, I don't even think it's like in a survival situation. I think you're drunk, high, bored, and you eat half a finger.
It's a Friday night,
Yeah,
your house.
yeah.
You don't want to go out. You don't want to get DoorDash. You're like, you know what? I'm not going to miss this.
Half a finger? Try half your fingers. You're gonna eat 5 just because you were.
No, I think you take out your pinky on your non-dominant hand first, and you're okay with that. That's gone pretty soon.
Isn't
Yeah,
your
right?
ring finger your least functional of your fingers? I think you want to keep the pinky.
Oh, really?
Oh
I
no,
th-
dude,
I
my
think
pinky
so.
doesn't work anyways.
Yeah, I
well,
got-
yours might be a special case.
Well, I'm trying to think of the. Well, see the golf swing.
Yeah, golf
I don't
swing.
need it for my golf. It's non-dominant
Yeah,
pinky.
yeah.
I need my left hand
Yeah.
pinky.
Yeah, but the non-dominant, hey. I'm just saying, I think, think about that. And by the way, this isn't like this is the rest of your life. I think if you did this, there'd be a lot of humans walking around as like stubbies. There'd be a lot of people like, oh my God. And we'd look at him and be like, really, dude? Like you have no self-control. Like you're out to dinner and ranch, like you spill some ranch on your finger and you're like, damn it.
You can't just lick that off.
What am I supposed to do? Just wipe the ranch off?
Yeah.
No.
You go to lick it off and then you're like, oh my God, my finger. And next thing you know, it always starts with a little nibble and then you look down and you got a nub.
What's weird about it is like that is so not a great reward for
No,
like 10 chicken fingers.
it's a terrible reward.
Now you have no hand. Like,
Yes.
what a terrible trade-off.
And yet
No,
you
what
would.
you're giving up is just
yeah,
awful.
it's absurd.
Yes. I promise you one night of hard
It's
Irish
insane.
drinking and I would be down at least one finger. And if I'm being honest, it's probably more like two.
And the shame of coming into work the
Yes,
next day.
'cause
and
everyone-
I'm checking your fingers.
Everyone would
like,
know.
I see where you've lost another one.
You're like,
Idiot.
Would eating your chicken fingers inhibit your ability to escape a house fire? That's what the text line wants to know.
you come back from Vegas, you know you're missing a digit and everyone's going to know why.
All right. That's the opening segue for you.
Text
today.
line already says we should just do this all show.
Good night. Well, like I said, we are with Joey Harrington today.
Yeah.
We will be ranking his top 3 meats because Souk loves lamb.
I do.
rarely have good questions.
Lamb's going to be in my top 3 more than likely.
So you'll want to tune in for that in a couple of hours. Headlines: Pacers do it again. That's next on the Fan.
Check out the Fan merch locker. Fan.
All right, nice to have you along. Friday, gonna party. Time for headlines where, before we get to the Pacers, because we'll probably talk about that a while.
Trying to find the Beaver game.
Although I don't know. It's on ESPN News, so you gotta, because they're waiting for Louisville, Miami to finish.
It will be on ESPN2. It's on ESPN News and ESPN Plus.
Yeah, so they moved it until the Louisville Miami battle ends.
Now I'm confused. I'm on YouTube TV. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, it says on there what the channels are.
Does it?
Yeah, see there, or on the lower left. See that there?
Yeah, but that's
ESPN2. So go find ESPN News.
Oh, for God's
Idiot.
sakes.
Good grief. What are you, 75?
It's possible. I don't have YouTube TV. I don't know how this works. I'm going to end up watching A Football Life. LaDainian Tomlinson. Either that or Panama versus Mexico.
Oh, a Week 11 replay of an AFC West battle.
You ever do that where you're watching TV and like maybe the clicker stops working or for whatever reason, like you're like, you know what? This is what, like you just give up. Like you're too lazy to go change a battery or to figure something out. You're like, whatever this is, I'm watching it.
My stepdad will scroll the sports channels and he'll just see an NFL game and he'll be like, ooh. And he'll turn it on and it'll be like random. Week 7, week 9, whatever. 2 random teams. And he's like, I bet this is a good one. Doesn't remember it. Enjoys it.
Do you have a sucker show? A show that will sucker you in every time?
Yeah, well, I have more sucker movies than I do sucker shows. There are several movies that if they're on, and my kids will make fun of me, they know you've got me for like at least a half hour. But shows, yeah, there's a handful that'll get me. Like if I'm scrolling and I see It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia because I know it's only 30 minutes and it's halfway through, you're gonna get me to click every single time. Cheers, a rerun of Cheers, like on a Nick at Night or TNT, whatever, gets me every time. And then like a bar rescue, for whatever reason, John Taffer yelling. Again, I'll swing by and see what that's all about for 5 to 10 minutes.
So YouTube TV, you said you don't have YouTube TV?
No.
We have YouTube TV at the house, and it's great. But what it does is it sort of learns what you like.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever your wife was watching or whatever you were watching, it sort of has the favorites right at the top.
Yeah.
And I never get past that. I
No.
mean, it will. It's like, here are a couple of options.
It's got your algorithm. And
Yes.
it started to have you figured out. And the more you watch, the better
Yes.
information they have. And suddenly everything in the
Yes.
first 5 or 6 screens is exactly what you want to watch.
So I never scroll.
Mm.
And I'm now into Beachfront Bargain Hunt.
Of course.
My wife loves that one.
That
She
is
watches it all the
such a
time.
Great show.
Also because of the YouTube algorithm. We have it too.
And it's always like the first thing on there. I'm like, dang it, I guess I got to watch that again.
I can't tell you how many times I'm come home and that's on in the background.
It's a very good background show.
There's the little streaming box that I use. So everything's just broken down by categories. There's like local stations, national stations, each individual sport, movies, whatever. There's all these different categories. But one of the categories is 24/7. And when I first got it, it took me like 8 months.
Is that like the Dateline?
Well, I didn't know. At the very bottom it says 24/7, and I was like, one day I'm scrolling and I'm like 24/7. So I go down, and it is it's about 50 channels, and each channel is one show that runs 24/7, and the different shows that are on there kind of rotate. But on my little box, I have 24 hours of Knight Rider. I have 24 hours of Alf. I have 24 hours of Gilligan's Island.
Ooh.
There's 24 hours of Law and Order. There's 24 hours of Seinfeld, 24 hours of The Simpsons. And and sometimes it's the most, why do I need 24 hours of Knight Rider? But I'm telling you, sometimes if there's nothing on and I'll scroll and I'm like, well, maybe, and I'll end up watching one episode of Knight Rider, and before I know it, like an hour and a half has gone by. And my daughter will come down and be like, oh my God, you're still watching this. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Michael Knight roped me in. 18?
Okay, there's two things there.
Yeah.
One, you don't need 24 hours of anything.
No.
But what they're doing is they're making sure that you know that it's always there.
Yes.
100%. So you won't watch it for 24 hours.
No.
But if it's on 24 hours, you will always watch it.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Yeah.
And the second thing they're doing there is that's super cheap.
Yes.
It's they buy the rights to these shows, just run them concurrently, just keep running them.
Go.
Sell ads and you
yeah.
make a mint.
It is such a weird thing to be scrolling through and you're like, oh my God, I haven't seen this show in 30 years. And you're like, well, I know what an hour and a half of my evening is going to be dedicated to. Here it goes. Click. And now I got 24 hours of it.
Yeah, and then there's also House Hunters. That shows up in my algorithm too, but
Yeah.
that one's a little less cool. I like the beachfront ones because they often buy these real S-holes.
Yeah.
And God, they fix them up so nice.
Yeah.
And they do it on like
Yeah, but
$40,000.
Here's the thing that this is why I can't.
I'm like, there's no way. Well, a lot of them they do their own
Yeah,
work.
Well, they don't, and this is
Sometimes they do.
This is what pisses me off because I have remodeled 2 older homes, and I hate when the property brothers, those sons of bitches, are like, you buy this house for $600,000 with a $150,000 renovation budget, and like you said, they give them a brand new home. Yeah, in what world are you renovating that home for $100,000? When you actually go to renovate a home, it is staggering what it costs. And then there's always these monster overruns, and all the furniture that they put in these houses alone are going to cost you 60 grand. Though I can't handle those shows because they piss me off because they're lies. It's all lies. It's TV voodoo witchcraft.
All right, so the Beavers are in the top of the second.
I still can't find it.
They are scoreless with the hated Florida State Seminoles.
Yeah.
It is a best of 3 super regional in Corvallis. Exciting times.
And freshman Dax Whitney for Oregon State is blowing the competition away. 4th strikeout of the night already in the 2nd inning.
Dax Whitney
Dax.
going against Joey Vellini.
Who apparently is some giant.
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah. I saw him warming up on the internet, and he looked enormous.
I learned today he is not their ace. Their ace is a kid that's going to pitch in game 2 so he can pitch on normal rest.
Ooh, got to get this one. Huh? Got to get this one, huh?
Again, I would like to watch it, but I
It's on ESPN News, dude.
I can't find ESPN
Oh, there's
News.
Golf Channel. You can just click on that.
Oh, there you go. I can watch Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour. Oh my god.
Go to the search function and then start typing in Oregon State.
I do.
Or how about this? Just put it on ESPN2 and it'll
Anyway.
be on soon enough.
That's also going to happen. Yeah.
You're right. I'm done.
All right. Pacers do it again. That's next. Here's Buck.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on The Fan. Big news today in the world of college football as the Oregon Ducks reportedly going to be without wide receiver Evan Stewart for the foreseeable future. His season now in jeopardy, as reports indicate he suffered a knee injury away from the team. Oregon has not confirmed that report yet. Without Stewart, the Ducks would enter the year without 5 of their top 6 receivers from a year ago. Beavers baseball hosting Florida State in the Super Regional. Junior lefty Joey Vellini on the hill for the Seminoles as they hold back their ace Jamie Anderson to pitch on normal rest in Game 2. Freshman Dax Whitney off to a great start for Oregon State. He's already racked up 4 Ks in the first inning and the third. That one is in the top of the second right now. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley, the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
It's back.
We are like monkeys effing a football in here, trying to figure out what the hell just happened
There's a lot going on.
in the Beavers game.
We're all actively watching it closely and have no idea what's going on.
No. No,
That is
dude,
so
it
true.
does not look like he scored.
We don't know what's happening,
So we're
but we're watching it.
yeah. So the Whitney kid, the kid pitching for Oregon State, had 5 strikeouts. He was mowing everyone down, but he walked a guy. And then when the Florida State guy hits it down the line, and so it's first and second with 2 out. Guy from Florida State hits one deep into right field in the gap, bounces off the wall. The Oregon State kid scrambles around, picks up the ball off the warning track, throws it in, and throws someone out at the plate.
They throw a runner out of the plate, but we're not sure who at this point.
And so we're like, well,
We thought that was the second runner.
that had to be the second runner. But everything that we're seeing is
It was the first
Still a
runner.
0-0 ball game.
it says nothing hit, but it hasn't been updated. And on the broadcast, it went to commercial.
Yeah.
That had to be the second runner.
Or we're going to find out when it comes back that the lead runner didn't know how many outs there were and like stopped or didn't go or
because there
something.
were 2 out. When that hit, it's impossible that guy at second
Something
didn't score.
wonky.
It says 1-0.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
It now says 1-0.
right.
You're
Ladies
welcome.
and gentlemen, they scored.
That was the worst job in TV history of
It really was.
explaining what the hell happened.
Well, in defense of us, we're hosting a radio show and the sound is off.
That's true.
But yeah, they didn't post the run right away,
No.
so it was very hard for idiots to follow.
Okay.
It's 1-0 Knowles.
1-0. All right.
All right,
It's a hell of a play to throw him
All
out,
right.
and I'm like, wait, what?
all right. So they threw out the second guy.
Yeah, the second guy.
And by the way, the guy in right field, come on, bro.
Yeah, you got to make that.
Keep
catch.
your eye on the ball. You catch that ball. You don't even have to jump.
Yeah. Nimmo had one of those the other day for the Mets. Cost him a ball game.
No way.
Yeah.
Well,
Just got turned around.
I don't know if you saw, but my Pacers did it again last night.
Unfreaking believable.
So great.
So whatever it was with 2.5 minutes or whatever, they were down by 9. And this is like the 5th time we've seen one of these stats from the Pacers. But in the NBA Finals, teams that were up by 9 with whatever time was left were 0, or I guess teams that were trailing by that were 0 for 181, 82.
You almost nailed that.
And now it's 1 for 108. They can't possibly keep doing this,
In
and
NBA
yet they do.
Let me give you the stat. In NBA Finals history, teams trailing by 9 or more in the final 3 minutes of a game were 0 and 182. And it is now 1 and 182.
What is happening?
They're amazing. And I love them, and I want to hug Tyrese Halliburton.
They're like the Terminator. They just
They're
don't
amazing.
stop.
Well, I think, one, you have inexperience for Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one thing. 2, I feel like, 2, Halliburton is just freaking a god when it comes to clutch shots this playoffs. Like, you can't really even explain what he's doing.
No, it's an all-time heater.
Yes. Well, Windhurst. He was on ESPN this morning, and he said that Tyrese Halliburton right now, this is the greatest clutch shooting performance of all time.
It is.
In the postseason, and you can't really even argue it.
No, he
is 12 of 14. Here are the stats. He is 12 of 14 inside 2 minutes to tie or take the lead in these playoffs.
Yeah.
He has missed 2 out of 14 shots, and he is 4 of 4 on shots in the final 5 seconds of fourth quarter or overtime in these playoffs. The rest of the league is 3 of 16 in that scenario. He is 4 of 4.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And he's done it in every round. It's not like he's stacking these all up in one time. Remember, he cooked Giannis on the layup to win the game. And by the way, last time I checked, Giannis, pretty good defender. And then against Cleveland, he had the silly one where he ran like he was going to shoot a layup.
Wasn't it off his missed free throw? Was that what it was?
Missed the free throw,
And then
got
ran
it,
back
and then
out.
decided to just back up, run back behind the 3, drill that one. And then against the Knicks, of course, we have the choke thing that happened. And now we had last night's buzzer beater.
It's amazing. They stole that game. They were down. Dude, how many times did they turn it over in the first half?
19, I believe.
That's unbelievable.
There was another stat. I think I sent it to you, Isaac, and I'll have the numbers close, but it was like they had like 17 more turnovers and 18 fewer shot attempts and
Yes.
still won the game.
And they won the game. So they were down 15 in the fourth quarter. I think the other thing that happened, so Halliburton's just on a freaking historic heater.
Yeah.
But I thought, and then Oklahoma City, I mean, they're inexperienced, but that's not the first time the Pacers have done that to a team, even with experience. So that's what they do. I think that the thing about them is when they get down late, they're uniquely equipped to close a gap faster because they are forced to go even faster.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma City's defense last night was suffocating for much of the game. Like that defense is really good.
Yeah.
But once Indiana became desperate, first of all, they knocked down a bunch of like freaking Obi Toppin hitting 5 threes.
Yeah.
It's like they just made the shot. One guy who was the guy who banked one in. But they get going so fast. They really sped Oklahoma City's defense up and got some pretty good looks because they were just desperate to close the gap on the lead.
They have a desperation speed that's hard for other teams to match.
And that desperation speed it's funny, like I guess you probably can't play at that pace the whole game.
Well, their regular speed already stresses defenses a lot.
Yes.
So when you kick that up a notch, you're right. You probably can't do it, but it's like drinking through a fire hose at the end of the game, I'd imagine.
Well, watching them, and I am fully rooting for Indiana here. And watching them, there's I don't know how you feel, but when they get the ball in the half court, you want them, or they get. I mean, they'll score off of makes.
Yeah.
That's their whole thing. But when they get bogged down on the half court, that's when you go, oh my God, like what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like the faster they go, the better they are, right? Move the ball, get the ball out of your hands, push it, and good things will happen. But then Oklahoma City did a really good job of getting back and just setting up their half court. And that's when you're like, oh my God, Indiana, they had no chance. But once they get desperate and they're down 15 in the fourth quarter, they just start freaking flying around, and and then they just get into that flow of their offense. They already play fast anyway, and dude, that threw Oklahoma City in a tizzy.
Yeah, and and stuff just goes their way. They had the one where they shot the air ball on the three, but Siakam's underneath the rim and he grabs it and puts it in. It's like,
yeah, that was a bad shot.
Yeah,
that was okay. So that one right there. That was a half court set where they went slow, and I think it was Nemhard who shot that, and it was like, oh my God, what are you doing? The second he shot that, it was like, what are you doing?
And there's
Siakam with a lucky layup.
Yeah,
there were elements of luck. You mentioned the banked 3 too. I mean, that was a horrendous shot, and it goes in.
Who
off
hit
the glass.
that? Was that Siakam?
I want to say, was it Turner?
Might have been Turner.
Might have been. Yeah, but it's just like
it was a big.
There is something weird because like all game, right? We were watching in the studio, and then I was listening to it on the way home, and right as I was pulling into the driveway, Indiana hits a 3 to 6 right at the end of the third quarter, and you're like, oh man, that's 6. And what does Oklahoma City do right before the end of the quarter? They push it to 9 with a 3 of their own. And then I'm watching it, and every time Indiana had something that pulled it within single digits, Oklahoma City would just push it back, and you're like, all right, Oklahoma City's just 10 to 15 points better until, like you said, the final 3 minutes where Oklahoma City, I think, again, lost some poise and sloppy play, and Indiana just, I really do think it's something to the frantic pace that breaks the other team. I'm convinced of it.
Well, it's just the only way that you can really not consistently, but it's the only way you can break that Oklahoma City defense.
Yeah.
Like they're just not. Oklahoma City is so good defensively. You have to play that pace in order to get what you need.
Indiana doesn't turn the ball over. I think they're top 5 in the league in not turning the ball over, and there was 25, 26 of them last night. So, and yet at the end, they didn't turn it over. You got to give Indiana credit. I think they adjusted to Oklahoma City's pressure, and like you said, just started pressing the ball. And
they got a lot of guys all over the place. Like there's shooters everywhere. They're fast.
They had 6 or 7 dudes in double figures last night. They're really balanced.
And Carlisle gets him to like just kind of free flow a little. Like he didn't. I thought it was smart that he didn't call a timeout after SGA's miss. And by the way, that's another thing. SGA, the MVP of the league, had his look to win that game.
Yep.
Or at least take the lead in that game, and he missed it.
Yeah. He had 38 though.
Well, but you know what, dude? Reputations come down to these shots, and Halliburton to me is as fun to watch as well, maybe not as fun, but he is the closest thing to Steph Curry in terms of fun in the NBA that I've seen since Curry.
But only in the last 2 minutes.
He is so.
He did not play a good game last night, but
it was
doesn't
just okay,
matter because at the end, when you needed him,
he is so amazing. And I think the thing about him is, it's like when all the clutch guys, Jordan was clutch, Kobe had that clutch gene, right? Those guys were so sweet and smooth and pretty. And Halliburton is just the exact opposite.
Yeah.
It is so ugly and clunky.
People put the side by side when Steve Urkel would play basketball. That's what he looks like. He's kind of weird, long and lanky,
Dude.
and it is the shot's not very pretty. He jumps when he throws passes, and yet
I love him.
he's
It's like Gumby stumbling around out there.
the Halibon. He did it again.
The Halibon.
By the way, it's really ugly, and you should not do it. But
Uh-oh.
the Halibon striking Oklahoma City.
Yeah, even though that was a
Wait,
domestic job.
What was that?
Well, people
Signs?
no the bombing.
People are calling
Oh, I
this an
know, but-
Oklahoma City bomb.
I know, but was it a sign that someone had?
No,
or-
like
people are
on,
doing
on
memes.
Twitter, they put him in on Bin Laden's head.
Yeah.
And
Taliban.
then and it's the Taliban struck Oklahoma City, and then they put up the building, the Oklahoma City Federal building with the face sheared off, and then they put it on the front of the
Yeah, let's not
the
do that.
Oklahoma City the basketball arena, and you're like,
Let's not do that. Except that the guy who blew up the Oklahoma City building was
Right.
a white
Domestic
American
terrorist,
guy.
Yeah.
What the hell are people doing?
I was scrolling through Twitter, and it was odd. I was like, oh my god, he did it again. And then I started seeing that, and I was like, hey guys, maybe
Do you think the person who did that thought that was like Taliban that blew up the Oklahoma
I
City?
don't know.
I mean,
it's not.
it's in poor
Yeah.
form and poor taste anyway.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't make any sense.
It's no longer applicable, but they just ran with the bit that was already working.
Yeah. And that was sucked because I was really enjoying the Halibon thing was fun, and I was really all about it. And then I saw that, and I was like, you took some of the fun out of it. Like, don't do that.
You got to back away from
from
the bit.
I did. I'm like, let's just shove that one over there a little bit, not do the real domestic terrorism thing.
All right. Well, when we come back, we've got the best call of the Halliburton shot.
Oh yeah, there's so many good ones out there.
Oh, but this is the best one.
I'm guessing this is the South Korean one.
The best one. And then we have some bad news out of Oregon football.
Oh yeah, that is a piece of bad news.
It makes Buck sad.
And it makes me sad.
That is coming up on The Fan. watching the Beavers, who are losing 1-0. They're headed to the bottom of the third.
My man was this Dax Whitney here. I think he's
right.
got 7 strikeouts. He had first and third with 1 out and mowed both of the guys down.
Well, he had
just
first and second, nobody out.
first and third, first and second, nobody out. First and third, 1 out, and he ended up striking out the next 2. My man is throwing gas.
I think he's he's thrown between 92 and 95.
Yeah.
And I have not. I haven't seen
Yeah.
the whole thing, but I have not seen him throw anything other than a fastball.
Let's forget about the curveball. Daxie, give him the heater.
He's the Corvallis Bartolo Colon, short arm fastballs all day.
Yeah, it certainly looks odd. Like you brought up, he looks like he's a catcher throwing it back to the mound.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like long whip to his
No.
motion. He just throws it right from his ear, but he gets some heat on it.
Do you think they love it when we don't watch them all year and then we watch them once
We're
and
breaking
have
them
all
down.
these opinions?
Like we know that.
Hot opinions. I'm like, oh,
I don't know. Dax, pretty good.
I have no idea if he's like their star or not, but my man's out there throwing gas, mowing 7 strikeouts through 3.
All right, let's get to the best call from last night's NBA Finals game, and it is not from ABC.
No.
It is this.
자, 언더독인 인디애나가 익숙한 상황을 맞이한다. 할리버튼 버튼을 합니다.
Oh, by the way, drop right there,
That is the last wow.
Wow!
Yeah.
right at the end.
The South Koreans.
We've needed to upgrade our WoW
Yeah,
around here, and I think we've done
I
it.
think we found it.
We just found it.
It's so good.
Yeah, the South Koreans.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who knew they were so into it? And you can hear him say Indiana in there, which I
Yeah.
thought was interesting.
And Halliburton.
Well,
And yeah,
I'm not certain if you're aware, but I don't think there's a Korean word for Indiana other than
oh,
Indiana.
I was not aware of that.
Like if Isaac Rob were doing something, they would say Isaac Rob.
Cool.
I did send that to my daughter over there. Thought she'd appreciate it.
You're speaking Japanese.
Or South Korean.
Bad news from Oregon camp.
Yeah, this one sucks.
Evan Stewart, Oregon wide receiver, top returning wide receiver,
Yeah.
torn patellar tendon,
Yeah.
and he could miss the entire season.
Yeah, that's. I would assume he's going to miss the entire season because he obviously has NFL aspirations. So my guess is, I guess if you made a long run, into the postseason, do you try to come back? But you've got bigger fish to fry going into the NFL. So, and that's a very, very serious knee injury. So, stinks for him. And hopefully, I don't know if you get a medical red shirt or if you just get healthy and try to get ready for the NFL Combine. But that certainly is a blow because he was a guy that people thought was, a first-team All Big Ten type player.
Yeah, so he's in his final year,
Yeah.
so he could redshirt and come back.
Yeah.
But
Or if
I
he
know.
thinks he's good enough, then and
That's
you're
up to
ready to
him.
go for the Combine, you head to the NFL.
but their top 4 pass catchers are gone.
Yep.
Sadiq is back, which is great.
Mhm.
But who steps up at wide receiver?
Well, the big one that you're hearing is just it's the freshman kid,
Decorian Moore out of
Decorian
Duncanville,
Moore.
Texas.
He's,
True freshman.
Yeah, he's the number 1 receiver in the country. Some people thought he was the number 1 non-quarterback in the country, and the reports out of spring is that he looks the part.
Yeah, he's dominated every All-Star game he's played in, and from All-Americans to whatever else, he is supposed to be every bit the number 1 receiver pedigree.
Yeah, so I think obviously you don't love counting on freshmen, but I mean, 2 of the best receivers in the country last year were freshmen. Look at Ohio State and Alabama. So there's certainly that. Gary Bryant Jr., I think, has been around the block.
He missed a lot of last year due to injuries,
Yep.
so hopefully you get something out of him.
So you're hoping something out of him, and then some of these the freshmen, and you've been building up this, recruiting class, and so it's time to go.
Justice Lowe has showed some flashes, but he just had a hard time getting on the field with this last crew out there.
Yeah, because
and-
he's a little older, because he's a redshirt junior.
But he kind
as
of got
well.
stuck behind Tez, Trayshawn, and Evan Stewart, so he may be someone who steps up. And then Jurion Dickey is another kid that didn't get a lot of time just because of youth and being buried on the depth chart, but he could potentially impact the receiving core.
So it's not ideal. I mean, obviously you were counting on, him. And then what is it? Malik Benson is the Florida State transfer. I think coming in, so he's a senior. Again, kind of next man up. And you do have the best running back in the portal in Mekhi Hughes. So, kind of come out and run the ball. There are people that think that Oregon may take a step back. I mean, obviously, the way Oregon recruits and the momentum they have, Oregon is going to be a very, very good team every year. But when you look at the fact that it is a rebuilt offensive line, but two of those guys that you're rebuilding, both are NFL players. I mean, Isaiah World, who's your left tackle, some people say he could be a top 15 pick in the draft. So you got the two best tackles in the portal that are coming in, but it is a rebuilt offensive line. The back should be fine with Hughes, and you've got some depth behind him. But your receiving core, obviously now big questions with your number one returning guy being out. And then the other big one is you went from 3 straight years of Heisman Trophy caliber quarterbacking, senior leadership, to Dante Moore, and we just don't know. So
Their over-under's pretty high.
yeah.
Win total.
Well, you would
It's
assume
like 10, right?
You would assume that from a talent basis, you're going to be better than most of the teams you're playing. But I think at Oregon, the standard is no longer 10 games, right? You're coming off a season where you were the number one team in the country. You beat Ohio State at home, and you went into the playoffs undefeated. I think that if that is the standard, I think that is. I think that's unrealistic. I there's just, to me, when I look at this team and the amount of question marks you have. Oh, and by the way, you've got a rebuilt defense as well. I know you bring back some guys on the edge, but I mean, you're in most of your interior defensive line, including, again, very high NFL picks, gone. A lot of your senior veteran leadership at linebacker, gone. So there's just, I don't look at this team and think to myself, this is a top 3 team that wins the Big Ten. I think, to me, when you look at Oregon, I think what you're hoping is that because of the expanded playoff, you can still afford to lose a couple games. The schedule, I don't think, is a murderer's row. I think the hope is that if you do stumble, by the end of the year, a lot of those guys have found their roles, especially at quarterback, and that you're one of those teams at the end of the year, you find a way to get into the playoff and you're a dangerous team because you're playing well. But I just don't know if it's realistic to think that this Oregon team is going to be the same team that we've seen the last couple years. I just think there's too many question marks, too many new pieces, and especially the quarterback play. The quarterback play is the one that, and I know that they're really high on Dante Moore, but it's just asking a lot from a kid who really hasn't played a ton of football to come in and replace what you've seen the last couple years, which is, again, really, really high level senior type quarterback. And by the way, both in the NFL.
Their over-under win total is 10.5.
Yeah. I think that's,
even as a fan, I'm more likely, as a gambler, I'm more likely to bet the 10 that they get to stop at 10 than get to 11.
Well, that's what I mean.
I mean, that's a tall order.
The schedule is, they've reloaded on defense, and the schedule is not hard.
it's not a killer.
So if you say that maybe Penn State clips them out there, they would have to lose one other one, right?
Yeah.
And that, where's that going to be? At Iowa, they play at Washington. They do have USC at home.
Wisconsin in there. And then the other one, they just kind of keep an eye, and I know we're all kind of writing them off, but year 2 under Jed Fish, and they found some stability there. I'm not saying Washington to me is not a playoff team, but I don't think that Washington is. I think Washington's going to be a lot better than what
Well, it's your rival.
what people think.
It's up there.
It's up there.
Last game.
That would be one that I would kind of keep an eye on. But Oregon can be a playoff team. I think that's the expectation every year, to find a way into the playoff, and I think this can be a playoff team. But this, in my mind, this will be a step back from what you've had the previous 2 years.
One team is planning to make a tsunami-type offer for Giannis. We'll tell you which team that is, and what if the Inside the NBA guys did college football? That's next on The Fan.
Wow!
The Arizona Diamondbacks are hot. I'm Sammy Pete, here to help you beat the books with the BetMGM network. The Snakes have rattled off 4 straight wins, including a sweep of Atlanta. Now they go on the road to Cincinnati. Rodriguez, the lefty, a $1.15 favorite at BetMGM. I think Arizona wins another one and moves it to 5 straight. I'm Sammy Pete from the BetMGM network. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetMGM app today, and please, gamble responsibly.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak high. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined
Are you kidding me?
An Odyssey Sports Station. Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on the Fan, potentially big news brewing out of Eugene. Reports indicate Ducks star receiver Evan Stewart suffered a knee injury that could put his season in jeopardy. Oregon has not confirmed this report, but without Stewart, the Ducks would enter the season without 5 of their top 6 receivers from a year ago. Beavers baseball is hosting Florida State in the Super Regional right now. Florida State jumping out to a 1-0 lead. Oregon State trying to tie it in the bottom of the third, but had the runner cut down at the plate after a double. It's still 1-0 in favor of the Seminoles as we go to the 4th inning. The Mariners back on the road tonight visiting the Angels in Anaheim. Bryce Miller's on the hill for the M's while Kyle Hendricks gets the ball for the Halos. First pitch from Anaheim is at 6:38. Stanley Cup Final, Game 2 in Edmonton this evening. Panthers trying to even the series after letting a 3-1 lead slip to the Oilers in Game 1. Puck drops north of the border at 5 on TNT. And on the clay courts of the French Open, men's semis out at Roland Garros today. 2-seed Carlos Alcaraz advances past Lorenzo Musetti, who retired in the 3rd set. 1-seed Jannik Sinner beats Novak Djokovic in straight sets, setting up a 1-2 final on Sunday. It's also a 1-2 final in the women's bracket. Saturday morning, 2-seed American Coco Gauff looks to upset 1-seed Arena Sabalenka. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley, the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Your favorite fan shows are on YouTube. Mash the subscribe button and like us for live streaming video and 1080 The Fan on demand.
What's the most resilient parasite?
Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Can build cities, can transform the world, and rewrite all the rules.
That's what I'll be doing every single night.
Which is why...
No!
I have to steal it.
What are you talking about, Willis?
This is Primetime with Isaac.
It's passable, okay? This isn't terrible.
The best in local, regional, and national sports. With no hidden agenda. Primetime with Isaac and Sue on 1080 The Fan.
Welcome back to our second hour of radio broadcast here on a Friday.
Rocking. Wow! Winnie in the butt.
Beavers down 1-0.
Going to the man in the box. Let's go. Hey, there's Pat Casey.
Hey, Pat.
First off, let me state for the record.
Looking great.
I love Pat Casey. I love Beaver baseball. And Oregon State, no offense, but they should just ump all their resources and become a baseball school. You already are. Who cares about anything else? Just make baseball.
Well, what would
thing.
you do? Like, what more would you do?
Well, siphon. Look, stop trying to keep up with the Joneses and everything else, and just baseball.
Well, but what? Like
have
a 30,000 seat
have the
stadium?
highest budget in Division I baseball, and I don't care what else suffers. You just become every resource you have gets filtered through the baseball program, and everything else, whatever.
It's called baseball in particular.
Yes. And also, kudos. This is another reason why I love Oregon State baseball. They're the only ones to have the balls to say that stupid beaver shark, get the hell out of here, and they embrace Benny the Beaver, which is one of the best logos in college sports. And if you notice, they don't use the stupid beaver shark. They have their own baseball logo, the OSU with the baseball in it, which is a great look. Or they do the OS, or they do like this postseason, they've been wearing the Benny the Beaver hat. The beaver shark is nowhere to be found. And kudos to you, Oregon State baseball. Go Beavs.
How much do you think NIL you need for a baseball team? Like
don't
really
know.
to be the number one NIL team in baseball?
It's not as much as you do in other sports, but like that.
5 million?
I bet you if you had 5 million, that's a huge.
Do you think that's number one?
Although they said,
well, that Texas Tech pitcher just got another one. Did you see that?
Yes, she got another $1 million. She got $1 million to go there, and she got $1 million to come back. They said that is more than every. There is not a single pitcher in Division I baseball that has $1 million NIL. She right now,
and they just gave her another one.
They just gave her another
because
one.
they were worried she's going to transfer.
She is the most expensive pitcher in all of throw ball sports in the NCAA.
AI has spit out between 3 and 5 million
Yeah.
as the highest NIL budget in college baseball. LSU.
That makes sense. I mean,
yeah, they turn out some big names.
They turn out some big boys. So Oregon State already has one of the best baseball programs in the country, and I know the big concern is football and basketball, but let's be honest, you're kind of between a rock and a hard place. You are basketball, you can still do it at a lower level. We've seen some of the mid majors, and you can go on some runs, although it's been hard to win at Oregon State in basketball, and it's going to continue to get harder. But whatever the new Pac-12 deal is going to be, whether it's 9 million, 10 million, 12, it's going to be somewhere between that, right? 9 and 12. Okay, the ACC and everybody else is making 30. The Big Ten and the SEC are going to be pulling in 80 plus. I know it stinks, but just you are really, really good at something. I mean, and not just really good. You are as good as anybody. 3 national championships in it. Huge pride around that. Just make that your thing. So I just, if I'm there, I shave off, I go to the baseball program, I go to Mitch and be like, what do you need to be competitive with the LSUs? And I make sure you have it. And then look, we're all going to, in every sport, every athletic department right now is having to slice up the pie. Just is. You're having to set aside money for the house settlement and revenue sharing and all of that. And so I just ask, which is more important? And maybe I'm being naive because, the football and basketball are the money driving engines. But how much money is going to be made from those programs when you're already behind the eight ball a little bit? I would rather shave some of those programs a little thin and make sure that my baseball program, my crown jewel, was funded as well as any in the country, because it doesn't take that much. It doesn't take that much to prop up that program.
I think you can do both.
I don't know if you can.
I think you can, because it doesn't take that much for baseball. And football, you kind of have to. Like that's your cash cow, even if you're not, obviously you're not bringing in the money of the SEC schools or even the, like Big 12 schools, but that you have to. Like, I don't know how you would, if you went thin on that, I don't know how you would keep up.
Well, you're not I guess my point is you're not going to keep up. So
no, but
whether you fall behind 20% or
25%,
25%, I would rather slice off and make sure that my baseball program was funded to the max, as opposed to trying to keep up. Like for instance, you're now competing with Boise State and Washington State and schools like that in the new Pac-12. I would make baseball more of a priority than any of those other schools do. I would make sure that I am on par. That's the one sport.
They kind of do.
It's a big time sport. They do. And I would make sure it stays there, that you can compete with the LSUs and the the Texases of the world, because it's certainly not going to be in basketball and football that you're going to be able to do that. So just make sure that you're leaning in and that the baseball program doesn't fall behind.
Okay, so there is a team planning to make a tsunami-type offer for Giannis.
Yeah.
And we are learning that team is the New York Knicks.
Boy, you don't have any. I'm confused. What draft picks or what picks do you have? You gave up 5 to go get Mikal Bridges. Like,
I have no idea.
What do you offer?
You'd have to be giving up Cat, probably OG, and Bridges to get him.
I just
so the
I don't
whole
know
team.
I don't know, because you're right. They don't have draft capital really to offer. So I don't know how they get that done, because you're not going to be giving up a star like Brunson. So how do you?
Or are you trading some of those players to get back capital, and then that capital turns to
three-way deal maybe?
I'm confused at where the Knicks. So when you say tsunami-like offer, is this one of those Carmelo deals where you gut everything and now you just have Giannis and Brunson and that's it? Or I just don't know where the tsunami comes from.
I don't either.
But look and see, because they gave up.
I think it'd be cool to see him in New York.
Well, it certainly would be interesting. I'm looking here to see what picks they have, because they just. I thought they dealt most of them, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do have picks. So I'll see what I can dig around. But that's certainly not the one that we heard. We assumed it was going to be a place like San Antonio, Houston, even Oklahoma City that had the Nets would be another one with treasure trove of cap space and picks. Certainly didn't think it'd be the Knicks, who have already gone. And think about what the Knicks have dealt for in the last 2 years. You went and got OG, right? That was and then you went and got Cat, and you went and got Mikal Bridges. Like, do you have the ability to go out and get Giannis?
Sounds like they're going to try. Boy, the college football playoff is going to be on TNT, some of it.
Yeah.
Playoffs?
And I'm not sure how many people knew that.
It's a little weird.
It is a little weird.
A little weird.
And we're going to get to that story next on The Fan.
It's back. Your local Toyota dealers present the 11.
Digging here. This is from Daily Knicks. The Knicks, by the way, last year gave up 7 first-round picks to get Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns.
7?
7. 6 outright and a swap.
God.
7 first-round picks. So
I didn't even know you could do that. Because you can't have, like,
but you can't trade
consecutive years
yeah,
or something?
consecutive years. So,
There's probably 6 or 7 guys I could name that I would rather do.
so the only first-rounder that they have to offer is the Wizards 2026. But if the Wizards end up in the top 10, which they will because they stink, that becomes from a first to 2 seconds.
Wow.
So the best package that, and this is obviously someone that follows this with the Knicks, to make everything match, they could offer either OG or Karl Anthony Towns. That would be the big salary match. Take your pick.
Excuse you.
Then Mikal Bridges, the Wizards first rounder, which would become 2 seconds. And then they have first round swaps in 2026, 30, and 32. Swaps. That's it. That's the best package that they could offer.
That ain't gonna get done.
That's not gonna get it done.
No.
I mean, it's adorable that the Knicks are preparing the tsunami offer, but you can't tsunami when you don't have any water.
Well, can you do a third team and
you'd have to find a way to lump all
maybe
that
get the
in
Blazers involved?
Yeah. Be the only thing, because the Blazers own all of the Bucks picks, and so now the question becomes: if you're Milwaukee and you decide you have to move off Giannis, like, do you even want Karl Anthony Towns or OG because you don't have any draft capital? Like, when you do that, I'm assuming that means that you're punting, and that you're going through a rebuild, and you're going to want assets and young assets like picks, and that's not what the Knicks have, like that. Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges and some swaps don't make the Bucks a contender. Certainly not giving up Giannis. So, it'll be interesting to see how this goes. You can say all you want that the Knicks are preparing to make an offer, but again, I would
tsunami-like
offer. Again, I've been trying to make tsunami-like offers to Halle Berry and Salma Hayek for all these years, and yet somehow
you have
the tsunami doesn't really appear. It ends up more like a kiddie pool. So. We'll see.
Well, sometimes, the tsunami, before it comes, the water recedes.
Yes.
And then it just overwhelms Halle.
So we'll see what happens, whether I end up with Halle Berry first or the Knicks land Giannis.
Well, I found out today that the college football playoff, at least some of it, will be on TNT, and I didn't know that.
How about that, boo-boo?
I'm going to go ahead and admit that to you.
It's a little weird.
Did you know that?
I did know that.
So So it's ESPN that owns the rights to the college football playoff.
But they're leasing.
But they're
I do knew that.
Sub-licensing the package. Which is kind of weird to me. I guess TNT must be paying a mint for it, because why else would they do that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you own the rights, just broadcast the games. That's the whole point. But I guess it must be worth it to sub-license some of them to TNT. So they're finalizing a deal with TNT to extend their sub-licensing package to include one college football playoff semifinal in 2026, 2027, and 2028. And they had already agreed to a deal allowing TNT to televise 2 first-round games each year from 24 to 28, and then 2 quarterfinal games each year from 26 to 28.
Yeah.
Which, I guess it's fine. Whatever. I'll watch it wherever it is.
Yeah.
But have we ever seen college football on
no
TNT?
Not that I've seen. And now, TNT has some of the Stanley Cup finals as well. So TNT is out of the NBA, but they're involved in college college football and hockey. So it's just a rotating thing. It's like when Fox all of a sudden got golf. You're like, what?
Oh, yeah.
You're like,
that
what?
didn't last long.
No,
they didn't do a very good job.
It did not last very long.
But TNT and TBS and True and all that gets the NCAA tournament.
NCAA tournament.
And that worked out fine.
Yeah.
But it was weird at first.
Yeah, they'll be all right. It'll be a little strange when this happens more and more. Where you're like, wait, where's the game? But I'll tell you, in this world of streaming now, where the game at is becoming less and less important, because you kind of have to hunt and peck for anything anyways. So now it's more like you bring up Hulu, you bring up YouTube or whatever, and you just go over to like the live sports, and you're like, oh, there's the game. I don't even really pay attention to where the game is at, because it's no longer like my Comcast scroll and I have to find what channel it's on. It's more of a I think it's becoming less important where those games are located.
Well, I'd like to hear the TNT Inside the NBA guys do. What happened? Is that a balk?
Well, it's tied right now, 1-1, and something does appear happening with the Florida State
They
lead
just
pitcher.
called a balk
I
on
think
him,
it was
yeah.
a balk.
Okay.
He's not happy about it.
He's like saying, I was just coming set, and they're like, no, you moved, and he's barking, and they're not happy.
He's going all high tea on him.
Who looks a lot like
Roid Rage.
a bloated Chris Pratt. Well, I'll tell you this. The TNT guys couldn't do a worse job on college football than they do on college basketball.
Yeah, no, I'd watch them.
Yeah.
They're just fun. I don't care what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I'd watch them do any of those sports.
Put Chuck on.
Yeah, see what Chuck says about
knowing
the
that
Ducks.
knowing that he hasn't watched 1 second of
Yeah.
college football.
You know what's funny about those guys is they don't even watch the games, the college basketball games that they're supposed to watch when they're broadcasting on for the college basketball tournament.
No.
Like they don't watch college basketball.
No.
Okay, so we know that. But then they put them on college basketball NCAA tournament like halftime shows.
They don't watch those either.
They don't even watch the game that they're doing the show for.
Kenny tries.
Kenny does.
I think Kenny wants to do a good job. The rest of them are like, I don't.
Jackson, I don't know, boo boo.
Shaq just talks about how there's no big guys. Chuck, how about that, he's just being Chuck.
Well, did you see Shaq last night? He was out there like sitting courtside.
Yeah.
Basically just lording over the TNT or the ABC guys, like, yeah, I'm coming for your job. All the ESPN guys,
Yeah.
Perkins and all. Yeah, I'm coming for your job. I'm here now, boo boo.
Yeah.
Oh, they had a weird kind of try-hard moment where Shaq crashed the pregame set, and Kendrick went, oh, HR, I'm going to tell HR. And they tried to do the we're working together, but now we're harassing each other thing. It wasn't great.
By the way, someone's saying that the Penn State SMU game was on TNT last year. Is that true?
I think that's
No.
accurate.
It is?
I think
It
that's
was?
accurate.
Oh, okay. So it even started last year. I didn't even notice. That's how important that is.
Yeah, like I said, do you because you have YouTube TV, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's correct.
But do you scroll down to TNT? Because we have YouTube TV on here, and I don't scroll anywhere. You bring it up, and either it's the very first thing, like it just has all the logos of the games that are on, or I go over to sports, and it pulls up. So that's what I'm saying. Whether it's on TNT or ESPN, it used to be I was punching in a number or I had to scroll for something, and now it's more like when you go to McDonald's or whatever, and I don't need to read. I just look at a menu item and I'm like, burger here.
No, that's true.
You know, it's just.
But you notice once you turn it on, like I noticed last night in the finals, I'm like, ooh,
yeah,
you know, it's just not as good of a product.
Yeah, it's not as sharp.
But you know, I mean, I guess that's the fun of it is for these broadcast networks is to make it so that we don't notice.
Yeah.
We're just like, oh wow,
yeah, TNT.
Well,
You know,
we're watching TNT without even knowing it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I was thrown off by the Stanley Cup on TNT. Threw me off. I was like, oh, TNT. Huh.
Look at them getting into sport. They're like the CW.
Yeah, see, well, that's another one. It's like sometimes you look up and you're like, what? It's on the CW or
you're getting into sports, man.
Into sports. Well, everyone wants to get into
called
sports because
sports.
it's live programming, and that's what people. It's the one thing that people are watching. I don't know, live. Although, did you see the ratings for Game 1?
Of what? The Stanley Cup or
no, the NBA.
No.
Worst Game 1 since they started tracking.
Well, I'm guessing a lot of people turned it off.
Yeah.
I have friends who did. They're like, wait, that
Yeah.
happened? That
Pacers
was a game?
won.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. Danny was trying to tell me it was a great game. I'm like, dude, that was not. It was a good fourth quarter.
It was a great last 6 minutes, probably.
Yeah, they said since they started tracking it, that is the worst rated Game 1 in NBA history, from what I saw on internet.
Well, maybe now it will get better ratings because people actually believe in Indiana.
Or is it still just Indiana and Oklahoma City? And we talked about this. Everyone that claims that they're tired of hearing about the Knicks and the Celtics and the Lakers and they want good basketball and it doesn't matter where it's at, these are two teams that were, quote, built the right way. There should be enough star power on there. It's great storylines. And so far, the country voted and said no one gives two S's. And that's what I just said. Are people all hypocrites? You know, this is what we say that we want, but in masses, we usually say no, this isn't what we want, which is why the ESPNs and the NBAs of the world and the TNTs desperately want it to be a team from New York, LA, Chicago, something like that. And I hope the ratings tick up, but after Game 1 and all the hullabaloo now, and we're like, oh my God, Indiana did it again. If Game 2 is another abysmal rating, then it's going to speak volumes about what we think about Oklahoma City and Indiana.
All right, coming up next, it is time for In the News. The city is about to gouge you for parking. And one very famous podcaster has love for an Oregon restaurant.
Oh, I do like a lot of delicious Oregon restaurants.
Oh. Yeah, that's next. Here's Buck.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with the Sports Center update. First on The Fan. Right now, down in Corvallis, Game 1 of the Super Regional at Goss Stadium between Oregon State and Florida State. FSU jumped out to a 1-0 lead. Oregon State has since tied it. We are in the top of the 5th inning. Freshman starter Dax Whitney still on the hill for the Beavs. Meanwhile, on the Pro Diamonds tonight, the Mariners are back in action. They're on the road in Anaheim. Bryce Miller taking the hill for the M's while Kyle Hendricks gets the ball for the Halos. First pitch from Anaheim at about 6:38. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight in Edmonton. Panthers trying to even that series after letting a 3-1 lead slip to the Oilers in Game 1. Puck drops north of the border at 5 on TNT. And the Belmont Stakes is Saturday out at Saratoga. Both the Derby winner Sovereignty and the Preakness winner Journalism are in the field. Journalism favored to win it when they go off just after 4 o'clock on Fox. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley, the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Hot Corner, now in its new time. Tuesdays at 7 after Isaac and Sue on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Well, life doesn't always work out the way we want it.
No.
You know that?
Tell me about it.
Yeah. I mean, look at you.
This whole Halle Berry thing. It's just not.
It makes me sad.
Starting to lose faith.
Yeah. Sometimes we get hurt. We run over our feet with a lawnmower.
Ooh, that'd be bad. I ran over a bunny once with a lawnmower.
Could you sue yourself?
Ow! Like if you had chicken fingers and you ate one of your fingers, could you sue your delicious finger?
Like you could sue the maker of the lawnmower.
Get some of that Toro money?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or how about this? One of your jerk neighbors runs over your foot with a lawnmower. There you go. Now.
Yeah.
Either way. Like
guys.
You don't run over your foot, but if it does happen, you call the advocates.
There's just a lot of different ways you can get hurt out there.
Yes.
And it's usually someone else's fault.
Bingo.
So when that happens and you're injured, call Donican, Ken and Donnie from the Advocates. They don't get paid until you win, and their consultations are always free. So there's just nary a risk in calling to see whether they will be able to help you.
And they're kind of badasses.
Kinda. But they're really nice, too.
They're very nice, but I would not want to go against them.
So if they can't increase the total amount in your pocket, they will tell you that. It's about doing what's best for you. So give them a call if you've been injured. You need more than a lawyer. You deserve an advocate. Advocateslaw.com.
Wow! It's Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I've got something important to talk to you about, your 401k. If you have changed jobs, there are 2 very important considerations. You don't want to leave your 401k behind, and you don't want to roll it over into your new company plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. 401ks will often have limited investments or age-based options. Since companies have to make choices to suit all employees, they may not be suited to you, which could cost you fees and money. When you roll over your 401k into an IRA, you not only keep your money growing tax-deferred,
1080 The Fan.
All right, big Friday program. Sun is shining. It's hot. Don't barbecue inside. Remember.
No, don't do that. Did you see the guy from King of the Hill and Parks and Rec that recently got shot and killed?
I did see that. Yeah.
Did you?
I saw that story.
Did you read into that story?
No, I thought it was like he had a. Here's what I know. I can tell you what I know about that story.
Yeah.
Wasn't someone yelling racial slurs at him?
That's what one
outside his house.
That's what one side is saying. Yes.
Yeah.
The one side is saying that he was shot because he was in a gay relationship, and they claimed years of harassment, and they said that.
So it wasn't racial; it was homophobic.
Homophobic.
Okay.
And they said that their house got burned down because they were gay, which again I don't know. But as I read deeper into it, and I'm not trying not to laugh, but I guess their house burned down like the previous year, and it burned down. It said that they had their power and water had been cut off, so they brought the barbecue inside to cook or heat the house, and they said when they left the house, they made sure to turn off the barbecue, but the barbecue ended up burning down the house. Wow! And they're claiming that someone saw the neighbor on the property, so they're saying that the neighbor came in and burned down the house, even though they brought the barbecue into the house that didn't have water or power to either cook and or heat.
And the neighbor was the one yelling about the slurs,
allegedly.
So they hated each other. They had a feud.
Yeah, and then they also said that they also like to piss off the neighbors by playing drums and making noise late night because they hated the neighbors. So it just seems like a very complicated mess.
Yeah. But how do you prove anything?
I don't know.
You know?
Including the old, why was your barbecue like your house burned down? Hey, it's someone else that burned it down. Yeah, but it was your barbecue that you brought inside to burn it down. Yeah, but we're pretty certain it was someone else.
Yeah, I think the fault there, if the neighbor went in there, 60-40 neighbor.
You can't, I
you shouldn't have your barbecue in your house.
No.
That's 40% blame.
Yeah.
But come on.
It just sounds like maybe there was a lot. Because when I originally read the story, you're like, oh my God, this was like a full-on like lynching sort of thing. And then when you dig a little deeper into it, you're like...
Pretty messy.
It sounds like this was kind of a really bad situation. Not that it deserves anyone to die. I mean, my God, over an argument. It just, there's a lot more to it than, man gunned down for no reason.
It is June 6, 2025. It's time for In the News. I'm your noted and humble, kind of sexy newsman. It's brought to you by the... Wait, did I give you the date? I did. It's brought to you by the Advocates, injury attorneys at advocateslaw.com. Today is National Donut Day. I love a good donut, but...
Try not to eat them.
Same. They're so good, though.
I've said it before. I've said it many times. The fritter, my number one power donut.
Yeah, I can't get behind that.
I go with the fritter, and then I go with the maple bar, and then maybe a nice cream pie donut.
It is also drive-in movie day, so perhaps grab some donuts and go to a drive-in movie.
Do they still have that one off of?
They do. Dusty said that he took his kids to a little double feature out there earlier this summer.
Okay.
It's right by my mom's house, and we want to do it too.
Double feature?
Yeah, they play two movies out there.
do that
Kids
at the
usually
drive-in.
sleep through the second.
The last thing I saw there, I saw Metallica did a movie for during the pandemic. I think that was the last time I saw that. Whatever.
Who would watch two movies in a row? That seems like a lot.
Well, you make it like a family. People put like
I mean, you go out there and it's like a 4-hour thing. You get food, you kind of picnic.
Yeah.
It's a whole deal.
Tailgate and it's a whole.
What movies were they?
I don't know. I think that it typically is like more kids, family friendly one on the front end, and then more adult on the back end.
Yeah, so you're saying the kids are sleeping by the second one, and then
Then
you get the
once it gets
hump
fully
movie.
dark.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
Or if you're in high school. Dude, I tried to get some at a drive-in once by going to see that Drew Barrymore Romeo and Juliet movie. Wow! Didn't work.
You think it was the movie's fault?
Yeah.
Wait, Drew Barrymore was in a Romeo and Juliet?
Yeah.
Huh.
She wanted to go, and I was like, what about this drive-in? Thinking that was going to be my slick move. Didn't work. Thought Barrymore would be good for some up-tops. Wrong.
The cost of parking in Portland is about to go up.
That's cool.
City leaders are set to enact the biggest year-over-year parking fee increase in city history.
For God's sake.
Starting July 1st.
Can we stop?
No, they cannot. They can't help themselves, Jace.
Because that's our problem. You need more of our money.
I think we're going to stop.
Parking meter revenues have slowly grown each year since the COVID pandy. The Portland Bureau of Transportation said it's in deeper financial trouble than ever before. Shocker. Mayor Keith Wilson said the price hikes are necessary to maintain infrastructure. He's also considering adding a fee to utility bills to pay for transportation projects, i.e. fixing our roads. He says we have a funding system that is fatally flawed. Doing nothing is not a course of action. That's from our mayor. The first hour of parking in downtown Portland districts will soon cost $3.60. Which includes a planned 60-cent rate hike and additional transaction fee added by the city council in recent years.
Cool. Wow. Can't wait.
In the spring of 2022, that same hour would cost drivers $2.20. So it's now $1.40 higher just 2 years later.
And I'm sure once they take all this money from us, we're going to instantly notice all of these awesome changes.
They will fill all the potholes.
Can you start by fixing the world's biggest pothole over by the Keller? Remember, Rob was dropping me off. There is a pothole. I forget. It's
a big one.
It is enormous. And by the way, it cost me I went over that thing. Cost me. I had to get two tires because of that damn thing.
Two tires?
Well, my tires in the front are bigger than my tires in the back. So when you screw up one of your front tires, you got to replace both of them. That stupid all-wheel drive thing. And I went over a pothole and I was like, oh man, it buckled my tire. There was like a big zit on the side of my tire. And they were like,
it's a big one.
And they were like, yeah, you
I can't believe they haven't fixed that one.
It's freaking enormous. There was a homeless guy taking a bath in it the other day. It's like 3 feet deep.
Fix
that thing?
That's coming July 1, whether you like it or not.
That's exciting. Well, you don't pay for parking anyways. You're a scofflaw.
You like that? You know what?
You like that?
I've changed my ways. I like that parking kitty. That's real easy.
Yeah.
But going to the green meter and doing
you're out.
that is so tedious.
So
and
you
it
do
half
pay,
the
you do the parking
well
kitty.
parking kitty I will. That's super easy. But the green parking meters, half of them never work.
No.
Have you noticed that? They never freaking work.
It's ridiculous.
Now they're going to charge us $4.60 to fix those.
Quit fixing those and fix the damn roads. By the way, you're not going to notice one bit of difference in the service we get.
There's a famous podcaster that you know very well who has posted about a restaurant in Oregon.
Really?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Are you?
Yeah, what do we got?
Next.
Oh, what a tease.
On the Fan. Such a pro.
This is the Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories, brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
8 seconds to go. The Pacers are not going to call a timeout. Halliburton has it with 3, driving with 2, pulling up, and hitting with 0.3 of a second to go. How many more times can this team do that?
Sweet. Baby.
I always love the color guy who has nothing to say.
That's the worst.
By the way, that was a great call by the play-by-play guy.
Until the color guy hopped in.
Yeah. It's terrible. Where's the Korean call? It's way better.
How about, did you see the TV station in Indiana that cut away from it was in Fort Wayne?
To show B-roll of a watch party from earlier in the day.
It cut away for a tease in the last minute.
And they're like, look at these people watching the game in the bar. And they weren't watching it live. They were just sitting around in like the second quarter.
Whoops.
Buy 4 windows, get 4 free, plus a free entry door when you purchase a house of windows right now at Window Nation. Free estimate at windownation.com or 866-90-NATION.
Wow! The Portland Trail Blazers. On 1080 The Fan.
I like how you're singing along to that.
Do what I can.
Bob Seger hit.
Wow!
Old time rock and roll.
Who doesn't love Bob Seger?
What? This is in the news, June 6th, 2025. Can you believe it? 2025. Gosh.
Crazy.
Big spot for the Beavs. Runners on the corners, 2 outs, and their best hitter up.
Travis Bazzana at the plate.
That is incorrect.
Iva Arquette.
Bazzana got hurt, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if he's out for the year, but he's out for a significant period of time. We saw that maybe a month ago-ish. Number 1 overall pick and first Australian to go number 1. He's an Aussie.
Well, this guy was traveling through Oregon. It says here he was in North Bend. Therefore, he was probably down at Bandon Dunes.
Why else would you go to North Bend?
I am speaking of the great, although oftentimes oversaturated, Jason Kelsey.
Oh.
What?
That's the only reason, unless he was going to check out... oh, God, why can't I think of it? The old strip club down there that burned down.
Oh, well, that's not in North Bend.
The
That's
Bachelor's Inn.
That's in Coos Bay.
Yeah, but it's just across the way.
And you thinking that's why he came out here?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Maybe he's heard the stories. He seems like the sort of type that if you told him about the Bachelor's Inn, he'd be like, hell, wing up there and play some golf and head on over. There's no reason to go to North Bend.
So in an Instagram post this past Wednesday, the retired NFL star, now podcast extraordinaire, shared that he was driving in North Bend, Oregon when he found an incredible spot on the side of the road. He went on to share highlights from his meal at the Pancake Mill.
The Pancake Mill?
Which even evoked a memory of his mother, Donna Kelsey's baking.
Huh.
Service was patient, food was great, knickknacks for sale, adorable, great pancakes, and cream cheese pie, he wrote. I see it here. It's a yellow storefront there, the Pancake Mill.
They serve a Western omelet, I'm seeing here. And they're 4.4 stars.
He says Donna used to make a strawberry cream cheese pie growing up, so it felt extra special. If you catch yourself out this way, enjoyed this quaint spot very much. About that.
4.4, I maybe expected a little better.
And there's a photo of him. Well, he sure doesn't look like he's golfing, but who knows? Maybe, I don't know what he's doing. He had to have been golfing, right?
Why else? Well, why would someone from a different part of the country be there without going to Bandon?
I'm just saying, there's a photo of him with his 2 thumbs up and his bag of pies, and he's got sweatpants and a t-shirt on. He just doesn't look like he's golfing.
This one is from Gabe from 3 months ago. My burger was bland and my $4 Supreme chocolate milk was an itsy-bitsy cup. Best thing there was the fruit bowl. Also, for some reason, there was some jack guy working there, and he was very, very nice.
Jacked?
Jacked.
Was it Jason Kelsey?
Well, Jason Kelsey wouldn't have been working there.
Boy, I tell you, if the best thing that you offer is a fruit bowl, that's rough.
Also, is that an adult ordering chocolate milk? Do we have issues with that?
Yeah, I do have an issue with that.
But then we got 5 stars. What a gem. Most people fly by as they traverse the famous 101 Pacific Coast Highway. I'm telling you that this is worth a pause. Wherever the journey takes you. Charming style, greeted by engaging services. And frankly, something missing from most dining experiences today, 5 stars.
Great.
And dare I say these, the photos? I don't really like the look of this waffle, but the omelet and the hash brown look solid.
Maybe he was just doing a Highway 101 thing.
Possible, maybe just driving the...
I guess I didn't really know Highway 101 ran right through there.
Yeah.
I've always just... It's where all the rich people fly into when they're flying in to play Bandon.
To play Bandon, yeah.
It's like 30 minutes from Bandon Dunes, and they just come pick you up in their kick-ass shuttle vans.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's where the hard dudes are.
Well, there you go. Next time you're down that way,
but
you don't feel like going to the Bachelor's Inn, head on over to the Pancake Mill. And doesn't every little small town have a Pancake Mill? Like, that's just... I think that works. Every little small town you're in has a Dairy Queen and a Pancake Mill.
Well, I got bad news, Jace.
What do we got?
Want some bad news? You know the Rose Festival's going on right now
I'm aware.
out there?
Yeah. We had some parades. I see they got the carnival set up down there
Yeah.
on the waterfront.
They just offer it all, don't they?
The ships have come in, so all the horny sailors are here. You
all
ladies.
the whores are out.
Yes.
Uh-oh. 2-1 Knowles.
Yeah. One of the Florida State players just hit a long
Blast.
solo shot, though. Both sides, I believe, have gone to the bullpen.
So the Rose Festival in 2024 lost. Do you care to guess how much money they lost?
On the Rose Festival, I'll go like $2 million.
$1.1 million.
Okay.
So you're okay with that?
Well, I mean, I knew they were. When you said they lost money, I assumed it wasn't $12. So.
Well, 1.1 was unusually bad, but they're saying that this year they project a $300,000 loss.
Okay.
And the head of the Rose Festival is saying that they basically, at this rate, have 3 years left.
Oh.
Yeah. We could lose the Rose Festival.
Look, let me state for the record.
Due to budgetary concerns.
Why don't they raise some more taxes? All right.
They might.
I don't.
Careful.
I don't want the Rose Festival to go away. Okay.
I don't either.
But if it did,
willing to sacrifice it? Look, if it's not making money.
When's the last time you went to the Rose Festival?
I have to admit something.
Go for it.
I've lived here 25 years.
And he's never been.
I've never been.
Buckley?
Never been.
Wow.
I've been twice.
How about you?
Twice? So I've lived in this area from Woodburn to Gresham to Portland to Vancouver to La Center. I lived along that stretch for probably 35 years. I've been to the Rose Festival twice. And the last time
Why'd you go the second time?
Kids.
That's the interesting question.
I went when I was a kid, and then I took my family there once when they were little. And you know what we did the next year when we said, hey, do you want to go back? They said, no. So while I do not want it to go away, I get it. It's iconic.
People love it.
But if it goes away and no one gets to go see the Starlight Parade ever again, are we really that worse off? That's all I'm saying.
Well, the answer is no, but, you know, I mean, it's community.
Yeah, which is why those things are important.
It's tradition. It's history.
And so, again, get me in there with that budget. I guarantee I can carve out a few shekels to put together a Rose Parade. Or how about this? Why don't we do the Rose Parade on a GD budget?
Well, I think it's the Rose Festival. Like it's like 2 weeks.
You can't. You're telling me over 2 weeks. All you need to do is save $300,000. Put me in charge. I'll rescue that thing. We'll save $300,000.
Is the 2 weeks part of the problem? Does it need to be that long? Could you do it in 3 days?
How about 9 days worth? I have to do this when I travel. I set a budget, and then I set about where I can and can't go when I travel. The city of Portland, my guess is there are a lot of rubber stamps in there. Get me in there. I'll do some slash into that thing, and I'll ensure that we have a festival. May not be quite as grand, may not be 2 whole weeks, but we're going to have one. And I'm guessing that if you did it under my leadership, you wouldn't really notice the difference.
Wow, that was quite a sell.
Yeah.
They're not going to let you anywhere near that budget.
Well, they should. You know why? Because they fear me. Because I'm going to go in there and be like, well, this is stupid. You don't need to do that.
Yeah, John Taffer that bitch.
I will. I'm gonna what is it, bar rescue? I'm gonna do festival rescue. Get me in there. I can yell. I'm a bald guy that can yell and swear at someone.
I wish I had some commentary on what I would cut, but I've never been, so I don't really know what is there.
Maybe spend more on something awesome so that it actually draws people in, and then you don't have to cut anything.
It doesn't. I think people are. Does nobody go? I
the
think
three
people
of us
go.
have been combined twice because there's nothing worth going for. It sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
People go.
We have like.
Is it here's what I'm asking: is it an attendance problem, or is it just a revenue problem?
I think.
Wouldn't attendance lead to revenue?
Yeah.
Well.
This guy says, I was born and raised in Oregon. The only reason I've ever been is because I was in the Navy and my boat came to town.
Yeah.
Again, I'm with Buck. We either need to cut this thing down to where we, you're telling me that there isn't a ton of fat on this thing. We can absolutely cut this down or make it to where it's cool enough where people want to come.
What if you just took out all the rides and just served booze?
Problems.
There's your revenue.
And that's called a brew fest, and we have a lot of those.
Let's do another one.
I'm just saying, what are we paying Poison Waters to be in charge of that thing? She's telling me we can't slice that from the budget. I don't know what we're paying her, but is that a volunteer position? We're cutting down on some floats. The parade gets a little shorter.
Cut the stiltsman.
Text line calling him Doge Satanic. You ought to go in with an actual chainsaw just like Elon did.
Yes. I promise you that anyone with half of a brain of common sense, you said they're 300,000 short
That's what they're projecting.
over a 2-week period. I guarantee it's not that hard to come away making $300,000 worth of cuts. They're just going to be the people that are like, well, we can't do that.
Well, what about the $1.1 million that they lost last year?
That seems a bit extreme. So here's my point, though. They went from 1.1 down to 3.
Well, they don't know, but
because
they're
someone probably
projecting.
got smart.
It could be worse. They're just projecting 300.
Dude, you're that same household that complains that you can't pay like your bills, and then I see you coming out of a gas station with $90 worth of snacks. Well, okay. You may not get to shop at New Seasons. We may have to shop at discount markets for a while, but we're still gonna have food. Come on, Rose Festival.
What if we merged the naked bike ride and just had a bunch of people biking around naked?
There you go.
For the kids. With the Rose Festival.
Won't someone think about the children?
That is in the news for June 6, 2025, brought to you by the Advocates, injury attorneys at advocateslaw.com. Up next, should she be stripped of her title? On The Fan.
Swag here, and the spring weather has me needing to get my golf game in shape for the new season, which is why I'm so glad to call Forest Hills Golf Course in Cornelius my home course. Marcus and his crew have done tremendous work here over the winter. The new green complex at 12 is in. The new bunkers on 2 and 7 and 8 have taken shape. So much more playable, so much more exciting, so many more options. Do what I do. Make it tee time. GolfForestHills.com. I'll see you out there.
Hey, it's Souk. Vulcan Design and Construction helped me turn my backyard into a true outdoor living space. Now the area I used a few times a year is my favorite place to hang out year-round. To check out their award-winning designs for yourself or to book your free consultation, go to vulcandc.com.
Reynolds Defense Firms. One promise.
Fan.
All right. Welcome back. Hope you're having a nice little Friday. It's your Sports Bros here. I'm Rob. Big Sook's right over there.
Right here.
We also have Ryan Buckley, as Patrick would say, on the ones and twos.
They either say everyone always says on the ones and twos or behind the glass. Those are two very widely used references to the producer of these programs.
Well, to us, he is behind glass.
Yes.
I am behind the glass.
He's like a monkey in a cage.
Yeah.
Here on a 50,000-watt blowtorch.
That's right.
KFXX AM.
Which we recently found out is the biggest blowtorch you can have.
Rocking you on a Friday.
Mexico.
Why did I say that?
So, the Beavers are losing. This is concerning because while it's only 2-1 in the 6th inning, I guess Florida State's ace is on the hill in game 2.
Yes, so this is a big win if they can make a comeback here. And I think Oregon State's this Dax Whitney kid that threw today, they're saying he is the number 2 prospect for the 2027 draft because he's a youngin. So
number 2 overall.
Wow.
Well, he threw 98 pitches. He was not very efficient. He only went into the 5th inning,
but he struck out a bunch.
Yeah. He's got a nice fastball.
He has 22 strikeouts in his last 10.5 innings.
But it's 2-1. That big fat kid for Florida State is having a nice game.
Joey Vellini.
The big fat kid from Florida State. What a detailed description.
I'd say the country strong boy from Florida State, maybe.
Yeah,
he's a big boy.
The Clydesdale in there is taking offense to you saying the big fat boy.
Hey, when's the big race?
Next week.
Is it next week?
Yeah.
What day?
Saturday.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, we're 8 days out.
The 14th? Is that right?
That's right.
Are we in prime? We we're dialed in?
I think so. I mean,
the hay's in the barn?
The swim has seemed good for a while, except for the fact I haven't done it in cold open water yet. But I feel the best about that. The 5K, we hit another personal best on Monday Tuesday. Anyhow, and the ride is fine. So I think we're gonna make it happen. I'm gonna try to do the entire triathlon sometime early next week as a little run through.
Okay. He's ready. The Clydesdale's ready.
Maybe a Monday or Tuesday try for myself.
What he's doing is he's really trying to peak at the right time.
Yes.
And it's working because he keeps setting a new PR every time he goes out.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but then I've been told you want to dial it back right before the tapering.
Yeah, because I've heard for a lot of people that like run marathons, even half marathons, they don't actually ever train to get to that distance. You just get close enough, and then you count on, the ability and the adrenaline to get you over the hump. So the fact that you're going to do the whole thing, that's usually not the way it works.
It's not usually the way it works, but I think that will give me more of the mental, like, you've already been able to do this, you'll be able to do it again, and so, yeah.
Well, as long as you don't drown, you're going to finish.
I don't think I'm going to drown.
Then you're fine, because that's the first.
That's right, that's the first.
Once it's past that, then, look, if you cramp up, you can hobble your way, and you can ride as slow as you want on a bike. You'll be fine.
Yeah, maybe I just don't fall off the bike.
Yeah, don't do that.
So Buckley is a sprint tri Clydesdale.
That's right.
That's right.
And that will be in Bend on June 14th.
Yeah. Schultz will be in for me on Friday because we're going up to Bend. It starts at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning.
Oof.
Woof.
Oof.
Well, I think it's better, though, because if it's a really hot weekend, you don't want to be doing that in the middle of the day.
I wouldn't want to be doing that during any part of the day, but
well, yeah. But that was the choice that was already made.
You couldn't get me to do anything other than that bike ride. Hey, you want to swim a couple miles? No. You want to run a 5K? No. The 12-mile bike ride, I'm fine. But the other stuff, again, the most you're getting me is the Sucanic 1K fun run, which we're still working on putting on. It's going to be a great time.
I hate the run, man. I've done it like a dozen times. I hate it.
Running's stupid.
It is.
How much money would it take you to do it? Like, you just have to complete it. Just we want you to do all 3. We really need Big Susan.
Like, we put stacks of cash on the table, and Sook, for you to do this alongside me on
5K.
next Saturday, what has to be on the table?
So I got to swim how many miles?
Half a mile, 800
half
meters.
a mile, and then 3.2 mile run, right?
And a 12-mile bike.
$5,000.
Wow.
I'd do
I'd do it for less.
Would you?
I'd undercut him.
I
Yeah,
don't think you would.
I don't think you
I
would
don't
do
think
it
you
for less.
would.
4,500.
Exactly. I think it's going to take more. I think I don't think $5,000
Five
gets you down,
figures for
and you
Roth
got to
to get
go
out
down
there.
to Bend to do it at 7 a.m. You ain't doing that.
I'll tell you what I don't like to do. I can tell you this right.
Any of that?
Well, any of it, but swimming especially, I'm not interested.
Most people feel that way. I like the swimming part the best, which I think is not normal.
Yeah, what's the matter with you?
I don't know.
Well, he's a Clydesdale. He's like the manatee of the.
I am buoyant.
Yeah.
You just called him a manatee?
Yes. That's kind of the manatee is the Clydesdale of the sea.
I don't know that that's accurate. I think maybe you want to go with like an orca or something.
Really?
Well,
Orca?
I'm not saying I'm an orca, but I think manatee and
whale.
Clydesdale are not the right analogy.
Neither one's very fast, but they're both majestic and loving. What would you? When I'm not giving you killer whale.
You know, okay, it doesn't even have to be killer whale, but like,
would you like a harbor seal? Does that feel better?
yeah, maybe.
Do you think of majestic and loving when you think of Ryan Buckley?
I do. He is a very majestic, loving man. I like it. I thought the manatee was a nice, but apparently can't call it a manatee.
The manatees do literally nothing. They just float. And the Clydesdale, at least it's a sturdy working horse, you know?
We'll work on that. See what better aquatic
Maybe I'm a
analogy
bull
we can come up with.
shark.
But you're not an orca. Maybe a beluga.
Oh.
Well, we're rooting for you.
How about a
Thanks.
sturgeon?
Now, will your family be out there watching you, or will they just sleep in?
Probably a little A, a little of B. With the two kids, there's no telling what they'll be doing or up for at that time in the morning. They'll probably be awake, but I'm not sure trying to organize everybody to see me start the swim makes any sense. So I think I'll see him at the finish line, and I might see him somewhere along the way, but I don't know that it's going to be a let's watch Dad for 2 hours.
It'd be like, how'd you do? Like you come in, how'd you do? I did fine. All right, well, let's go. The kids want to go to the park, and so you're going to take them down there. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
I know how this goes.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to go see Daddy finish the race, and then Daddy will take you to the park. Wait, what?
That's right.
What just happened?
Tired, Daddy.
And then it'll be like, well, yeah, we were with the kids all morning. It's your turn now.
Trust me, if I know Mrs. Buckley, you're not getting the afternoon off. No.
No, it's her vacation too.
That's right. You had your vacation in the water, you sea cow. Get your ass over there and start watching some kids. Mama needs a foot rub. See, it could be worse.
Try Clyde Sea Cow.
Look up.
Are you gonna wear a Speedo?
No,
God, please do it.
I'm gonna wear. I think I showed you. I'm gonna. The wetsuit is like it's like a sleeveless wetsuit, but it's full length on the legs. I showed you, didn't I?
I don't think so.
I thought I showed you a photo.
I saw your helmet. Very
No, I'm
aerodynamic.
not going to be wearing that
Oh.
helmet. That was the one that my buddy Joe said that he would offer me, and I'm like, I'm not nearly a good enough cyclist to be wearing that thing. It's like the really pointy
So-
raindrop one.
What do you wear when you bike?
So you have options. You can either wear tri-shorts, which are essentially waterproof shorts that are quick drying and also have like a bike seat pad in the back. Or you can wear a tri-suit, which is kind of like a zip-up onesie situation.
Yeah, you're not doing that.
I think I'm probably doing that.
You got a zip up onesie?
I'll show you in the break.
Dude, I just want to see photos of Buckley.
You're going to see photos.
I'm disappointed.
Ladies
that
won't be
you're
got to
not-
keep their hands off me out in Bend.
I'm disappointed you're not.
High
wearing
desert,
a
look
Speedo.
out.
If I did it for the $5,000, I would do it 100% in a Speedo. That's just good times.
Well, it improves your time.
No, it
think so.
doesn't. I've actually been told that the wetsuit, because of the extra buoyancy, helps you in the water. So,
Are you shaving?
makes me more manatee-like. No, that's what the wetsuit's for.
Are you gonna be smooth like a?
I'm
porpoise?
adding a layer of blubber, so it's like it's great.
What do you wear when you run?
The tri-suit.
same-
It's like the little
okay.
onesie thing.
So the tri-suit is for all three.
So the tri-suit goes under the wetsuit, and then when you get out of the water, you just take the wetsuit off, put your shoes on, and go.
and you're ready to go.
Yeah, and then who gets your wetsuit? Who picks that?
You basically have like a station where you can like drop your stuff and put on your.
Because you got to get going.
That's
your
right.
Time. This is time.
I've had to learn about these things. I didn't know about them. Apparently, what the best thing to do is I just bring myself like a race bucket. I get just like a Home Depot bucket, throw my shoes in there, throw my socks in there, maybe a towel if I want it,
Maybe like a
something like that.
Maybe like a Subway sandwich.
Ma-
Like
yeah, maybe a
12-inch
cold cut
meatball.
combo. Yeah,
six-pack.
Yeah, that's right. Give me a 6-inch meatball in there. No,
6-inch meatball and maybe a Deschutes like mirror palm. on or something?
But then you basically just drop your wetsuit there in the bucket. You take your bike, and I think the bike is either I think it's a loop or an out and back, but you bring your bike back to the same part you started the bike ride, and then you run from there too. So you kind of have just like a home hub base.
That was entirely too much information.
Way more
But
Tri-Clyde information than anyone needed.
I'm interested. Maybe we should send a crew out there.
This is, I'm in the Bend area that weekend. Where do I go with my Tri-Clyde buck sign to cheer on?
Dude, that'd be great.
Yes.
Have a gallery.
Oh, get some
Yeah,
people
where
down there
People are
yelling
running
about-
alongside my bike like the Tour de France.
Hell yeah. Where are you swimming?
In the Deschutes.
Oh,
I'm assuming it's right there in that, like, where you put in it to, like, raft, I'm guessing.
I would imagine so. I can look up the map online, but yeah, they've got a little section like buoyed off.
Just go with the current. You're fine.
Well, that's what they say makes it easy. Is that
when in doubt, just flip on your
that's
back
a little
and
cheating.
float a la manatee
I
style.
didn't pick the course, man. I just signed
There's
up.
some rapids on that river.
Exactly, dude. I think the manatee
rapids.
is
There
getting
are.
better and better.
I floated that thing.
Between the blubber I'm bringing myself, the extra layer of the wetsuit blubber, and the current, the manatee's feeling good.
I hope they make you swim up current.
They're not. I've already read the information packet.
All right. High school sports news. I mean, listen. You're going to want to hear this.
Okay. I can't wait. Oh, I think the Beavs.
Double play.
Yeah, but Florida State got one. So
3-1.
I think 3-1 going to bottom of 7. Damn it. So got to make a little rally here.
Buckley, how are you going to feel when you cash the ticket on Florida State? Are you going to
I'm gonna feel.
Are you going to feel terrible?
No.
Betting against the
No.
poor lowly.
I was
Beavs?
thinking about this earlier today. Like, when people think it's odd or have a problem with somebody from the rival school betting against the rival school, I find that crazy to me. Why would I be supporting
yeah,
Oregon
I guess
State?
you're a Duck fan.
Like,
I forgot about
no
that.
skin off my nose if they lose. I mean, I think it's fun for everybody in the state if they go on a run and all that, but not in our conference, and they're our rivals, so screw them.
Buckley's a sea cow and a big jerk, apparently.
That's right.
Yeah, should they have stripped this girl of her title? That's next on The Fan. we will talk to Joey Harrington. Fun Friday, where we will ask him about his top meats, because that's
about what we do on a Friday.
That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
But first, I told you I had big high school news. Now I am distraught over this story.
You are.
I am, Jace.
I don't think you are. I think you're faking, but I can't wait to hear what sort of fake
Well,
outrage you have.
This is outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a California high school sprinter who was stripped of her state title. She won the 400 meter finals.
It's a very big deal.
She is a sophomore. Her name is Clara Adams. She's only 16.
She'll win more then.
North Salinas High.
Mm-hmm.
And she has been disqualified by the California Interscholastic Federation, the CIF.
Those bastards. I've never liked the CIF.
Due to her celebration after she won.
You can get your title stripped because of something you did after the race?
Yep, they deemed it unsportsmanlike.
Huh.
Here is what she did.
Doctor,
are you ready for what she did?
I'm guessing.
What do you think she did?
I'm guessing there was some sort of motion. I'm guessing there was a
prop.
There was a prop.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I was gonna say some sort of either gun gesture or maybe a crotch chop,
like a Ja Morant celebration.
Yeah, there was a prop.
Yeah.
But I can't even fathom what sort of runner prop is there?
She won the race.
Uh-huh.
She went up to the stands because that's what you do when you win races. You hug your family.
Sure.
And her dad handed her a fire extinguisher, and she blew it on her shoes.
Oh, and she actually set it off?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah. And this, of course, you know, it's a bit.
Yeah.
There's
a video of it.
Yeah, somebody did that
So
back in the day.
What do I look at?
The Miami Hurricanes did it coming out of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Well, there was a sprinter who did that years ago.
It was Justin Gatlin. Somebody referenced this. I think Nemec said it was Gatlin who did that. But there was an American male sprinter who did the same thing when they won.
Yeah, and the idea is just,
you're
she's
hot.
spraying her cleats because she's so fast, her shoes are on fire.
Burning up the track.
Blazing speed.
Sure.
Well, she has, that was deemed unsportsmanlike, and she has been what they call robbed of her championship. She says, I was having fun. I'd never won something like that before, and they took it away from me. I didn't do anything wrong. She added, I worked really hard for it, and they took it from me, and I don't know what to do.
Well, you're not going to do anything.
Did you hear what else they did?
That was her quote.
They suspended her for the 200, too. They wouldn't let her run in the next race.
Wow.
That's right.
Now, can I ask, was it known that you can't do this sort of thing?
Well, I can read you the rule. I don't know that.
It's a good question whether they were even aware that you weren't supposed to do this.
So, unsporting conduct can include disrespectfully addressing an official, any flagrant behavior, intentional contact, taunting, criticizing, or using profanity directed towards someone.
Yeah.
The rule is cited as a gray area that the CIF used to justify this decision, but they claim that the CIF ruled it unsporting conduct and that they were really nasty to her about it.
Okay, well, I don't know what to do about this, because on one side it does seem like take the cob out of your ass, CIF.
That would be my viewpoint.
And she won the race, so what
you need to get the cob out of your ass.
Well, and they gave it to another girl who's like, oh,
yeah, I didn't win.
I didn't win.
Yes.
You know?
But at the same time, if it's a widely known thing that you can't do this, then, oh no, the consequences of my own action. First off, your jackass father, why are you doing bits this goes back to you're a sophomore in high school that won a 400 meter race. My God, what, you trying to go viral? You're doing this for your awesome 9 Instagram followers? Maybe it's a life lesson not to be a dumbass. So from that aspect, I don't feel bad for them, because again, this was something totally you did this to yourself. Did the California board or whatever certainly overreact? Absolutely. But to act like somehow you're like this tragic victim and you had no part in this, you did it yourself.
Yeah, I just think.
Would
I
it be
don't know.
different if it were like a football team and they did a coordinated celebration on a touchdown and they're like, no, you guys don't actually win the championship?
Well, like if I'm playing in a high school football game and we score the winning touchdown, and we go into the stands and start bringing like extinguishers out and spraying on the field, yeah, there's probably going to be some consequences. Now, it does seem weird that you can negate the results of it. Like,
That's
to
the part
me,
that's
I
weird.
get the idea of, all right, you won this, you're not going to be able to run in the 2. That to me would be a little more of a fair thing. Like, you won this race. Now, we're not going to let you run on the next one because you're a dumbass, but it does seem ridiculous they took it away. But yes, like when you do these sorts of things in football game, there is consequences. You can't go into the stands and bring props down.
Yeah, I just
Why
don't
does
think
everything now have to be? And there's part of my old curmudgeon is
Gotta go viral, baby.
You gotta go viral.
I just don't think that it was widely known that this was a problem. I can see them totally thinking that this would be fine. It's just doing a bit, it's harmless.
Yeah.
And I feel like they are shocked that it was a problem.
Yeah.
And I can see why they would be shocked that it was a problem, because it's just, God,
It seems ridiculous.
yes,
but
it's absurd. People are just trying to have a little fun. Calm down,
insane.
CIF. God.
Well, I see both sides. I lean more towards the side of the family that the cob needs to come out
I
of
guess
someone's butt.
Here's what I would ask. What is unsportsmanlike about that? I mean, she's just, it's her own thing. There's no one else around.
Yeah.
She barely, she just did it.
Yeah, it was
It's the same thing that makes a touchdown dance with a prop in the NFL unsportsmanlike. I mean, they'll throw 15 yards at you. They don't take the touchdown away.
So what,
but...
I mean, because like when sprinters, oftentimes they throw their arms up in the air.
Sure.
Well,
yeah.
What is the line for, oh, that's egregious, you can't do that,
Well,
versus just celebrating?
I would say spraying a fire extinguisher probably should be a fairly setting off a fire extinguisher in front of people.
Seems further across the line
I
than
can
just
see
putting
where
a flag
someone
on or
might say
something.
that's a bridge too far. That's
Yeah,
a bridge too far.
to take her title from her, come on.
That's ridiculous.
Come on.
That's ridiculous. But at the same time, because I watched this little clip of her and her dad, and they are acting like this is like they are the greatest victims of all time when you did it. And my that's what I want to know. Did they have any idea that there would be punishment and pushback on this? Or were they completely oblivious to it? 'Cause to me, that matters as well. Because just the idea that you were going to do something that you knew had the potential to be a problem, and you did it so that your 16-year-old can go viral to a couple hundred people on Instagram, there's part of me that's like, well, lesson learned. I'll also say this. She's a sophomore. She's going to have plenty more of these races. I am willing to guess that this may teach her and her father more of a lesson than winning that 400 as a sophomore.
All
Just taking a shot at it.
We got to run because Joey Harrington, famous Detroit Lions and Oregon Ducks quarterback, is standing by. He will I think he's going to power rank his top meats.
I certainly hope so.
Because of you inspired today's segment.
The lamb sliders that I had.
You had lamb sliders.
They were good.
Today. Homemade lamb sliders.
I didn't make them.
So we will get to that with Joey. Coming up next, here's Buck.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on the Fan, Beavers baseball hosting Game 1 of the Super Regionals in Corvallis right now. They just flew out to end the top of the 7th. They are trailing 3-1 as they head to the 8th against the Florida State Seminoles. It is a best-of-3 series. Meanwhile, the Mariners back in action tonight. They'll get started about an hour from now, opening up a road trip in Anaheim against the Angels. Bryce Miller goes to the hill for the M's this evening. Meanwhile, on the ice, on the board early are the Florida Panthers. They got a power play in the first 2 minutes of the first period of Game 2 of the Stanley Cup. They got on the board with a Sam Bennett goal. It is 1-0 Florida with 15 minutes to play in the first period. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley, the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
It's back. The 11th annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club happens Tuesday, June 24th. Presented by your local Toyota dealers. Reserve your foursome now at 1080thefan.com. It's time for Who's Leading the Charge. A look under the hood at the coaches, players, and teams getting it done. Brought to you by Battery Exchange.
were different areas. I mean, they were getting to the rim a lot in the first half. The turnovers were the first thing that we talked about. You know, it seemed like we were doing a good job on the boards, but they had 20 more shots than we did in the first half. And so that was really fool's gold too. And so, look, it was just, you know, hit the reset button. Let's go whistle to whistle in the third quarter, try to chip away at it and try to hang in.
The great Jim Carrey.
I don't think that was Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey lookalike Rick Carlisle.
Yeah. 19 turnovers in the first half. They did cut it down to 6 in the second, and you know that was one of the big differences in the game.
Battery Exchange, mention code BXT10 at checkout for 10% off your entire purchase. Online at batteryexchange.com.
What's that sound? That's the sound.
Story time with Joey on 1080 The Fan.
It is time for Story Time with J. Joseph Harrington, who will be power ranking his 3 favorite meats today on the show.
I will eventually. But I have a, you know how well, okay, let me back up here. We are all respected journalists,
Clearly.
right, in this profession.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. In order to be on sports talk radio, you must, pass accreditation. You know, it's like what was that class? Info Hell is what they used to call it, right? At Oregon was the journalism school, and it was a class that everybody had to take. So yes, just establishing that, and so by being part of that respected circle of colleagues, when there is a mistake that's made, it is our duty and obligation to go back and post a correction.
Absolutely.
So it is, yes. So I would like to quickly revisit a conversation from last week and say that said friend or said colleague whose family was part of the conversation last week came to me and after listening to the segment said it was not Souk. But actually it was Rop and the second time was Buck.
How about that?
Buck?
Yeah. Filthy mouth Brian Buckley over there. Meanwhile, I'm over here being a saint.
Well, we've already established your cardinal in Conte or whatever the
I'm a man of the Lord, basically. I'm a secret agent. I'm the CIA of God at this point. Meanwhile, these godless heathens that I'm with are throwing out the B word left and right.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. When you brought that to the table last week and he said Souk, it was the upset of the century, and I was smiling ear to ear inside. But
apparently everybody is Souk when when
Yes.
it's just like, I don't know, Souk said it.
I think it's when they hear something they don't like, they instantly blame Souk because he's very controversial.
It gets lumped upon me.
Yeah.
As podcast tough guy / radio funny man.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that. He said it. That actually happens a lot though, where if one of us says something, it doesn't matter who actually said it. It just gets lumped somewhere. You're like, I don't know.
The show said it.
The show said it. Yeah, that guy.
So don't say anything.
Well, it is interesting that at a certain point, you guys no longer have your individual identities. It's just Isaac and Suk.
Yeah.
Like all one. Hey, where'd you hear that? Isaac and Suk.
Yeah.
Like it's just actually one. You know.
Right.
Well, my favorite is, and I know Rob gets this. I'm sure, like golfing, but Rob, have you been to a Timbers game ever?
Yeah.
You've been to one.
3.
3. You've been
maybe
you
2.
Sure about that?
2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Almost every. So me and my buddies go to just about every game, and I kid you not, at least once a game, someone gets one of these. Suk, where's Rob? And I just kind of and I sit there and I stare at him, and I'm like, do you think we just like we live together? It's like a bosom buddy sort of situation. I'm like, because obviously you listen to the show, and if you listen to the show, where's Rob? I don't know, but you know where he's not? Here. He's not at this game, and yet it happens almost every time.
I get that a lot too. Yeah, where's Suk? I don't know. If he were up your ass, you'd know where he was.
Exactly. Not here.
I think that people just don't really know what to say.
And so that's the easiest.
And they just, it's a go-to.
Yeah,
it's a quick go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, where's the other one?
When you run into a celebrity like yourselves,
it's tough.
people tend to freeze a little bit.
Yeah, they clam up around us.
What do you get? Like, because you have to, I mean, we have someone here at the station who will remain nameless, but Joey, when you're on, they legitimately get uncomfortable. Like it's a fanboy experience to where they struggle a little bit to process.
It's Buck.
So when old bitch Buckley over there.
I would like to point out that was Big Suk.
No,
Jason.
I think that was the other one. But what do you most often get when someone approaches you and you hear? Do you hear Joey? Do you hear Mr. Harrington? Do you like? Can I have a moment of your time? What's the most common thing you get?
Not you see. Okay, so this is more of a. Let's just establish I am now old.
Yeah.
Right. So when you've hit that point of oldness, and I'm no longer in view. Like you, A-list celebrities are in people's lives every single day.
Yeah.
Right. So every single afternoon, I can listen to Isaac and Suk as one word. I haven't been like actually in the public for, the better part of 15 years.
Yeah.
So a lot of that has has worn off, which is fine.
Yeah.
The thing, and so a lot of the interactions then are not that clam up type of reaction, or it's like, oh my God, this is the person that I heard yesterday, or this is the person that I saw on TV yesterday. Like, it's like, oh, wait a minute, it's that guy from like, from like a couple of 20 years ago. It's like, yeah, I think it is. And so there's one of a couple responses that I'll get. Like I'll walk by and someone will go, isn't that Joey Harrington? And my favorite response is like, and I'll just go, wait, where? No, wait. And, then you just keep walking. Or like their parents will send their kids up. Like, I'm supposed to ask you to sign something. It's like, well, what am I saying? I don't know. My dad told me to come ask you. I was like, why don't you just tell your dad to get his butt over here? Or then most of the time, it's just like a straight up, just go Ducks.
Yeah.
Go
and then
Ducks,
we just keep walking, like just go Ducks. Just kind of a little nod and like, yep, go Ducks. and then you just kind of go about your day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I thought they were going to say, "Where's Rob?"
Hey, where's Rob? Where's Buckley?
Hey, Joey, where's Buck?
Yeah, the Go Ducks one. That's
I can see that.
It's the new rock chalk.
Yeah, right.
Go Ducks.
Yeah.
Throw an O at you or something.
Yeah, and that's really what it's not Go Ducks. It's just like a quick little Go Ducks.
Yeah.
Well,
that's got to be better than what it used to be.
Well, what it used to be was like voicemail death threats. So anything,
you bum.
Yeah, That's the Jay Cutler getting spit on in Chicago.
I mean, look, you being in the public eye was, it was, you made a career out of it. You had some great experiences. But did you like it? Like that portion of it, was it ever comfortable?
I mean, there were benefits to it. I'm not going to lie. There were absolutely benefits to it. But no, it's not something that anybody really gets truly comfortable with, because there's a significant loss of privacy, right? And so when you feel like you are constantly, trying to hide, which is kind of the point that I got to, you end up pulling back from the parts of life that you really want to enjoy, right? Everything just kind of changes. And no, I didn't like that. I didn't like the place that it took me to. I didn't like the person that I became. But I liked not paying for dinner. Like, that was great.
Where was the pulling back moment?
Where was the pulling back? I think it was mostly with family, like friends and family. Like I was so guarded with so many things that the world that I lived in didn't resonate, or the friends and family didn't experience that and couldn't quite understand it. And so the things that made sense to me and the way that I acted didn't, I was on guard. I was on edge with my family, and that's not a good place to be.
Well, I'm guessing I've never had, I had 1/100th or maybe even 1,000th of what you had, but it sounds like, but I've seen people that have experienced it like you up close. And it's not, you don't live in reality. I know it's your reality, but it's a very unique reality that very few people live in. And everyone else around you is in a different world than what you're existing in. I'm guessing those worlds can be uncomfortable sometimes, or at least awkward when they overlap, like a Venn diagram.
That's a very smart man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much spot on. Yeah. And what happens is so many people, you hear the I don't say horror stories, but you hear the stories of family members who start to glom on, and this was by no means what my situation at all. But when you start to try and bring people into that world, and when you start to, hey, why don't you come with me? Or, hey, why don't you be a part of this? And hey, and you start to mesh those two worlds. That's when a lot of the situations occur of family members getting too greedy, or friends taking advantage of, or, you read something about, so-and-so has cut themselves off from their family. Well, it's probably because that dynamic became really, really, it's hard to navigate such a deep divide between what your reality is and what their reality is. And efforts to reconcile the two don't always go very smoothly.
Did you have anyone, and you don't have to name names or anything like that,
Peter,
Buck,
did you have any people that you thought were close to you or family members that resented your success?
Ooh. Now we're getting all.
I say name names.
Well, I've encountered people, maybe not necessarily in this level of success athletics, but from a business standpoint, and almost all of them have someone that they thought was close to them that end up being resentful, or think that it was given to them and not earned, and it causes problems. And I was just wondering if you had, because you seem like you have a very close knit family. Like the Harrington clan seems like it's very close, and I wonder if you experienced any of that.
Yeah, I'm sure that I have. I can't think of anything that comes to mind. I would say that most of the resentment that I faced came from the cities that I played for and didn't play well. It's like, screw you. You know?
But I think it's different when it comes from inside the house. I think it comes.
sure.
It's different when at least the people that I know, those are the ones that really end up hurting someone because you do get it from outside forces, and inside the fence is supposed to be safe. And when it comes from inside the fence, I think those are the ones that really end up stinging.
Yeah, I mean there have been a couple. I won't, not like inside the family fence, but there have been a couple, business partnerships that, I thought were more than that. That, you can hear it 100 times. You don't never mix business and pleasure or family and friends, or I don't know, whatever maybe I haven't heard it 100 times because I get, because it bit me in the butt. But yeah, I mean, those things are tough to deal with because there is a level of, look, I won the lottery. I mean, let's call a spade here, right? Like there was a day where I existed in that world, and all of a sudden, like a switch flipped, and you get handed this life-changing check. It doesn't invalidate the work that was done to get there. However, for many people, like who are truly doing the day-to-day and frankly doing the more important things other than playing professional sports, teachers, firefighters, public servants, like, you go down the list, healthcare providers that don't make that type of money. And so when they are grinding on a day-to-day and see somebody, who goes out and plays football and, I mean, God, it just continues to get astronomical. A baseball player signing for $500 million. Like that's just, it's asinine is what it is. And I think that just kind of on its, at face value can lead to some of that resentment.
Very true. Will Joey rank his top 3 favorite meats? Tune in next to find out with J. Joseph Harrington, the very famous J. Joseph Harrington, here on 1080 The Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics, brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Well, we touched on it in the first hour of the show, but troubling news out of Eugene is Evan Stewart, it sounds like, has a knee injury that could cost him the entire season.
I think they should throw every pass to Sadiq.
I think that should at least be your first option, See if you can throw him 30 to 40 passes a game and see how that goes.
Can he get 2,000 yards?
Can he get 2,000 receptions?
Ooh. Wow.
A tall order, but you never know.
Mods PDX, the future of building is here.
It's back! Your local Toyota dealers present the 11th Annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club on Tuesday, June 24th. Brought to you by Henderson & Daughter Windows and Doors and Philbrook Law, Accident and Injury Lawyers. The afternoon round is sold out, and the morning round is filling up fast. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places.
My point is lamb is not for everybody.
Yeah.
There are people who are like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing lamb.
I did offer Rob one of my delicious lamb sliders, and I don't believe he even considered it.
I did not.
He just went right by.
No, I declined. I'd already eaten. You know, I don't like to eat twice.
I think it might have been the lamb. I think you're anti-lamb.
I'm pro lamb, actually. I'm pro lamb. I can do lamb. You know what I can't do? Duck. Dislike duck.
Really? You don't like a crispy duck?
I don't. I think it's disgusting.
Buck's giving you a thumbs down right now. That's a disappointed. That's a disappointed thumbs down.
Can we establish some ground rules here before we get going?
Absolutely.
Sure. Okay. So we are obviously separating out different types of fowl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
Because we talked duck. Duck is different than chicken.
Sure.
Chicken is different than turkey. Okay. Are we including all? So is all fish the same? Is halibut the same as salmon? Is the same as shrimp?
No.
Okay. Shellfish. How
let's be
do we feel
specific.
about mollusk?
I think we have. By the way, I love the fact that we've now used the term mollusk. No, I think you have to be specific. If you're into shrimp, you're into shrimp. But if you're into, shrimp and scallops, two very different things. A nice piece of whitefish, very different than salmon.
This is what leads to the next thought. Is a T-bone the same as a sirloin? Is ground beef 85-15 the same as ground wagyu?
No.
Like where are we on that?
Again, be as specific as possible when you power rank your top 3 meats.
Yeah, because I think you could say steak and all encompassing. Like if you're a steak man, I get it. Sometimes
you
like
what steak?
Well, I think sometimes you like in New York. Sometimes like a T-bone. Maybe you like a ribeye. But
pick one.
I think steak. I think steak and ground beef obviously are two very different things. But I feel like if you said steak is number one, I would accept that and not pin someone down to say you need a bone-in ribeye.
No, I will not. I will not accept that.
I wouldn't accept that
Rob's
either.
coming hard
Because I think that a fillet is significantly different
Yes.
than a marinated piece of hanger.
Correct.
You know?
Correct.
Yeah, it is.
Correct. So what do we got? The people want to know.
Oh, me?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, we're
Why don't you get?
They don't care
are
about
we
us.
starting with 3-2? Well, we all have to participate in this.
Oh, okay.
Well, I know Rob's anti-chicken. I'll tell you that right now. Rob craps on
He's
chicken.
anti-duck. He's anti-chicken.
Yeah, he doesn't like the birds.
Chicken's mid.
Rob needs something that's made for the plains. He wants something that's good in the high winds.
That's right.
Okay, so Rob, where are we going? Are we just going like 3 cuts of beef? Is that kind of the direction we're going?
No, I'd actually put, if you included fish and we're going to fish, I'll include a nice piece of white halibut in my top 3.
Of course, Rob gets the whitefish.
That's delicious.
You old man.
Absolutely delicious.
Okay. All right. Is that number 3 for you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is. I'm thinking. I want to make. See, I take lists very seriously, and I didn't plan on participating here.
We've
and
thrown him into a.
I really need to think about.
I know.
this.
That's why I'm actually dragging you into this so that I can have some more time to think about my list because I feel the same way.
I know.
Well, I'll go number 3.
This is why we like Joey. He's thoughtful.
I'm taking 3 here, and it's a controversial one. And if you asked me a couple years ago, I probably would have not had this. But I went to Iceland a number of years ago. I went to the motherland, and they don't really have beef there. It's just they don't have enough grasslands to raise cows. So you're either eating fish. They do have some reindeer, caribou, but most of what they eat is lamb. And I'll tell you what, I got a taste for that lamb. And now, if I sit down and there is lamb on the menu, I order it every time. Like if I see a lamb chop, it's a lamb chop. I go with a lamb stew. It just so like my lamb sliders. So I'm going, and I know it's controversial. It's not for everyone, but I'm saying the versatility of it, and it's delightful in so many forms. I'm taking lamb number 3, which is different than mutton. Mutton's very tough, but lamb, ooh. Now you got to come over sometime for some hot honey lamb sliders. It's a game changer. Rob screwed up by not having one.
So Rob went, you've got lamb, Rob went whitefish. I'm going Dungeness.
Ooh, you take a little crab. All
Very
right.
nice. Very nice.
I'm going Dungeness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very highbrow of you.
Number 2.
Number 2.
For me, it's frog.
Wait, what?
I'm just kidding.
He's being a jackass because he's stressing right now.
I am.
He does take his list very seriously, and you don't realize like he is thrown for a loop right now because he's processing and he doesn't know where to go with number two.
So where's yours? So Suk, let's fill the gap. I'm ready to go.
I'm taking this, and again, as specific as we can get, because I would just say pork, but I don't feel like people are going to. Yeah, people are going to be like, oh, pork. But if you're giving me, if I can just say pork, because I now when I go to steakhouses, again, I'm ordering a lot of pork chops. The pork chop at Michael Jordan's or at Ox, I'm telling you, game changer. But if I had to be very specific about what kind of pork, I'm going pork belly. Pork belly. You can, because it's we do a lot of obviously Asian cooking at my house, and the pork belly is so versatile in so many Asian dishes. Whether you're doing strips, whether you're doing cubed, whether you have the crispy skin or not, but you can put it in noodle dishes, in ramen, in rice. A really good, especially a spicy pork belly. I'm telling you that's pushing number one for me. But pork, or specifically pork belly, comes in at number two.
Well, so interesting that you and I are sitting in this spot, which I think will make sense in a moment. I'm gonna in the same way that you kind of doubled up on the pork, I'm gonna double up on the steak and say either a fillet or like a marinated like skirt steak, like with a lot of cumin and
there you go.
You know,
Okay.
so like I'm gonna go steak there, but kind of like hedge my bet of A and 2A and 2B with like a nice salty like medium rare fillet, or then like a charred like a skirt steak hanger.
This is exciting because you know what that does? That makes us wonder what might be his number one.
I know.
You know?
I thought steak would be number one.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because it is on mine.
Sure.
Now, number two, I'm gonna go with brisket burnt ends. Number two.
So good.
I absolutely love them.
Good.
And I grew up in the Kansas City barbecue the style.
I am so hungry right now.
And so I'm going number two.
I'm actually taking a bite of my Thai food, so go ahead.
Yeah, so that ironically he's eating Thai food.
Thai food. Burnt ends are so good.
Yeah, I'm
They're
gonna go burnt ends.
so criminally underrated.
Yeah, they really are.
I like where you went with that.
So I'm going that number two. Okay, we're up to number one, guys. This is important. Our top three meats. Suk?
All right. This isn't anything like groundbreaking. I mean, I think this for a lot of people, dude, it's above everything else. I love the pig. I love I love duck. I love lamb. There's so many good things, but you can't beat cow. You just can't. Cow is number one. It's always number one. And if I have to be specific with cow, it is simple. It is a well-marbled, bone-in ribeye with a nice crispy crust. I want you to sear the living hell. I want the edge of that thing to be black. And then maybe a nice Cajun seasoning to it. And then right in the middle there, you go with a perfect medium. Oh, it doesn't get any better than that. I could eat. And then you need the bone in though, because then it may just be fat and caveman of me, but there is just something great when you're done. I don't care what restaurant, how nice it is. I'm picking up that bone and I'm gnawing on it. We're taking a lap around that bone when we're finished. I'm just grabbing that thing like a young toddler grabs like a Crayola crown, and I'm just mowing on it. It just doesn't get any better.
Anybody else a little bit bothered by how intricate he was getting with with the end? I was like, oh my God, when's he going to stop?
No, because I'm passionate. Like if we're getting like a steak to split, 'cause sometimes you do like, you do a meal for two or whatever. I'll just tell you right now, don't you dare touch that bone. You'll pull back a bloody stump. That bone's mine.
No, I have to go steak. Yeah. Number one. But I think it is a little controversial that I'm going to choose. It is not the best steak. It's never thought of as the what would be the word, like
the prime most, like whatever.
Well, the most
flavorful
steak. Maybe that would probably be the ribeye, right?
Yeah.
I'm going with the New York strip.
Well, they do call it the king of steaks.
Dude, I love a good New York strip. And oftentimes, being from Kansas, I'm a little snobby in a sense that you just don't put anything on your steak. It's just meat. Yeah. Cut the meat, eat the meat. But when you get the blue cheese crumble,
maybe a garlic butter or something.
Garlic butter top of a with a strip, I'm a sucker.
Well, I thought when you said that, when I was terrified that you were gonna get it like a fillet, and I was like, oh my
Well,
god,
the fillet's good, but
dude, take your panties off and put on some big boy pants and get some flavor.
You know, Joey just said fillet.
Yeah, but like when you get like a filet mignon, there's no fat on that. That's all.
The fillets are good. I'm going strip. Okay, what's
you salt and you sear it in the butter? Like
Yep,
that's
yep,
the.
that's right. That's right. What's number one on Joey's list?
There is no. If it is on the menu at any restaurant, it's an automatic order for me. Is a bone-in pork chop.
Wow!
Look at that.
That is my.
It's an upset.
That's my weakness right there. And you know what? A lot of places, because people will like shy away because what happens is they overcook it.
Yeah.
Everybody's scared to undercook pork.
Yeah.
But if you can find a place that has like a bone-in pork chop, maybe they put a good brine on it, or and then they do it just past medium rare, like a little like now we're cooking with gas. So that's my number one.
I love that because a lot of times when I do go to steakhouses, I order the pork chop, and people look at me like they're like, "What? You're at a steakhouse?" I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm getting the best thing on the menu. If you go to Ox,
Bingo.
which is my buddy's favorite place, the best thing on that menu is their pork chop. They do a delightful bone-in pork chop there.
Agreed. Greg and Gabby, hold it down.
I would like to, since we're each doing a local dish.
Yeah.
You did the ox. I'd like to hear Joey's. Might I offer the culotte from Laurelhurst Market? It is so good, so good. And they do a little. They kind of mix up what they put with it, like this puree type of thing. It's delicious. What about you? One dish in Portland. What is it?
Well, see, this is now we got issues because you mentioned Ox, and Ox was a huge support for our foundation, our chef off years ago, and then you mentioned Laurelhurst Market, and I played on the golf team with David Kreifels, and so it's like if I'm in Portland, I can't. If I choose one, then it's like I've offended somebody else.
Right. Okay. You're a man of the people.
So
I get it.
I'm going to the Ghost Tree Grill at Bandon and getting the bone-in pork chop.
Yeah.
They have a good one out there, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I bet.
Get that next time I'm out
And
there.
again, outside local, I went Portland, but I'm telling you, the MJ Steakhouse up at A, also a delightful bone-in pork
You can't
chop.
be doing honorable mentions here.
Well, we went
now we
in
gotta
Portland. Now we were out.
Now we got to go another round.
He went out of Portland.
All right. Well, that was probably the most important Joey Harrington interview we've ever done.
Of all time.
Thank you.
One, we established the truth. And two, we talked about, actually, there was like a whole section in there where we didn't talk about swearing or meat. So actually, it was kind of
Yeah. Thank you for your
well-rounded.
We appreciate your courage.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
Adios.
That is J. Joseph Harrington, quarterback extraordinaire. We're back with the club next on The Fan.
down to their last strike, and then so there's a man on first, and little fella comes up, number 6 or whatever, and drills one to right field. And you're right, they pan all the way out, and the guy caught it right up against the wall. But boy, the way they made that the camera pan there, that seemed like that was a walk-off shot.
So they were down 4-1, lifeless, dead in the water, the big water, the ocean water, and then they somehow managed to score 3 in the bottom of the ninth.
Bases loaded, and then the pitcher overgrips a curveball, wild pitch to make it 4-2, and then all they need is a single, and they got it.
Yeah, the big first baseman comes up, and he takes 2 huge cuts, whiffs at both of them. You're like, dude, you just need a base hit. And then down to his last strike, he laces a single into left field, 2-run score, and thanks for coming. We're tied up. Now we're going to the extras.
Bonus.
But boy, I really did. I thought, I was with Buck. I thought that was a walk-off homer in the bottom of the ninth. And I was like, holy cow.
They got some magic.
Yeah,
They're
they
like
do.
Halliburton and the
Hey,
Pacers.
Man, the Beavs don't, like someone said, Beavs don't start playing until elimination time. So, yeah, you're down to your last strike, then they pick it up.
All right, coming up next, what do you do when your flight attendant gets naked?
That's a loaded question. Depends on what the flight attendant's got going on.
That's next on The Fan. Hey, it's your Window Daddy sticking around for the Nation. Window Nation, June 2025, one of their best deals yet, guys. If you need windows for your house, they've got them for you. And not only do they have them, they're going to discount the hell out of them for you. Right now, every 4 windows you buy, you get 4 more free. And if you happen to buy your entire house full of windows, just do them all at once, they're going to give you a free entry door. You can also get 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 full years, so you will pay nothing until 2027. In Portland, we're quite mindful of what we bring into our homes and the local businesses supporting that we support in the process. So it's time for a change that's both sustainable and beautiful, and that is Window Nation. They offer energy-efficient windows made with eco-conscious materials, and their styles are crafted for Portland homes, and they are partnered with Milgard, who build top-quality windows to their high standards and for our climate. So flexible financing, a team rooted right here in the Northwest. You'll be able to remodel consciously and comfortably at Window Nation. Book your free eco quote today at 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com, 866-90NATION or windownation.com.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
I'm Dirt.
Here is a takeaway Scotch. I love scotch. Scotchy, scotch, scotch.
Club 1080 with Isaac and Suk is brought to you by Pub Beer, the official beer of Cheap Fun.
Can I get a hot tub?
Someone pointing out the stack of beer cans behind home plate.
Absolutely.
Tonight in Core Vegas.
Well, it's an 80-degree day down there. You got a little super regional, a little nerve-wracking. You down 4-1. Pop some...
That was this thing in the final game of the regional as well. There was a whole mountain back there.
Well, can we also say that the stigma behind light beers, like,
how many people are contributing to that stack? I mean, there's a lot of beers back there.
There's a lot of beers back there, but like, dude, for a normal-sized, maybe large gentleman, and you're at a baseball game, 9 to 10 beers is not an obscene amount of beers. You know, it isn't. We gotta lose the stigma. Because it's one thing if you're drinking like double IPAs, I get it. You know, you have 5 or 6 of those, maybe you're, let's slow it down. But you're drinking a Rainier, or you got a Coors Light back there, or God forbid you're drinking, Budweiser or something. Yeah,
I can't tell what beers those are back there.
Yeah, it's tough to tell. Maybe you got a nice pub beer going on. Because if you're drinking pub beer, you're going through 6 or 7 of those, no problem. You get 3 guys that drink 6 beers. Next thing you know, you got a pile of beer cans.
You freaking bitch.
I don't like when people do this, the stigmatized number of beers. It depends on size, drinking ability, alcohol. There's a lot that goes into that.
And there's a portion of the population that just has decided that, like, if you're having 8 to 10 drinks, that's way too many drinks.
And I don't subscribe to that.
And they're not all created the same.
Yeah. Dude, thank you. I mean, look, Friday night doesn't even get going until we've had 5 or 6, right? That's pregame. Then we move on to the main event. Come on. 5, 6 beers.
Got a story from the airways. We're very up on our latest kerfuffles in the skies.
We do like a good sky kerfuffle, and there does appear to be more and
There's
more.
a lot of them, yeah, and they go viral,
Yeah.
And they're always random flights. Like, you just never know. Could be your flight.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them are like, if you fly Spirit or Frontier, that's on you. Like,
yeah, but you know what? A lot of these aren't coming from Spirit.
They're not. I'm just saying, if you fly Spirit or Frontier and something weird goes down, that's on you for flying on Spirit and Frontier.
That's the price you pay for a cheap ticket.
Yes.
That guy pulling his pud in the...
100%. If you're looking at that flight to Vegas and it's 178 one way on Alaska and it's 92 on Spirit, and I get it. You're like, hey, I want the 92 one way on Spirit.
It's an extra $100 at the blackjack table.
I'm just letting you know. But you know what? It's also, you're taking the blackjack, you're rolling the roulette wheel when you're getting on Spirit Airlines. Because it's just, you know what Spirit Airlines is about.
Lead off double, bottom of the 10th. Dude, freaking Oregon State, man.
They got a little magic to them.
So this was a British Airways flight.
Mm-hmm. Not Spirit.
And they were going from San Francisco to London.
All right. That's a long flight.
And now, by the way, we got to give credit where credit's due here.
Okay.
This story comes to us courtesy of Kirk from Sales.
Oh.
He forwarded this to me. He thought of me when he heard this. Yeah, now. Now, he can't sell a lick, but boy, can he contribute to the club.
Well, and he loves the club.
He's a big club guy.
Speaking of 5 or 6 deep on a Friday night.
Yeah, I'm sure he's loaded right now.
Yeah.
Listening to us. So they did not turn this plane around, which I'm thankful for.
That's all that Rob cares about.
That's right. There would be no reason to turn the plane around.
Yeah.
But this was on a May 25th flight from San Francisco to Heathrow, and all we know is that the flight attendant was arrested. One of the flight attendants was arrested after they touched down because he was found dancing naked in a restroom during the flight.
See, if you told me someone's dancing naked, the odds-on favorite is not the flight attendant.
How big are these restrooms? You got room to dance in there?
Actually, they showed a photo of it. It's the biggest restroom I have ever seen on a flight.
Okay, well, here's the thing. One, British Airways, San Francisco to London, that's going to be one of the big dogs. And
yeah, it was a huge restroom.
Beebs, by the way, first and third, nobody out.
Yeah, they'll get this in. Ball game.
Yeah, those big international flights, some of those first-class bathrooms are ridiculous.
I mean, it was nice. Like you could sleep in there.
Yeah.
I mean, not that you'd want to. I'm just saying.
Not if he's naked dancing.
So he was in, and they don't really know what he was doing. That's all we know. They just know that the other crew found him. They dressed him and restrained him until for the remainder of it was a 10-hour flight.
Yeah.
And they just restrained him, and then he was arrested by police in London. He's a 41-year-old dude.
Well,
what
clearly
was going through his mind?
Well, my guess is drugs, right? I mean,
yeah.
I doubt anyone that is clean and sober decides in the middle of your job to go into a bathroom, strip naked, and start a dance party.
I was doing it in the first hour.
It seems a little, yeah, but you came
And I'm
back.
sober.
And by the way, how did they just be like, hey, where's Ted?
Yeah.
And then someone like knocked on the door. Did Ted answer and is like, hey, come on in, the dong party's here?
Is it a long enough flight where he maybe thought he had the first part of it off and he had like a sleeping pill or something? Because like some people do weird stuff when they take sleep aids.
Wait. Are you saying on the long flights, flight attendants work shifts?
I don't know.
They
I
don't.
don't think that's the way.
That's not the way that works.
I'm throwing anything out there. Why would he have taken drugs at the start of his shift?
Maybe he wanted to do a helicopter
Probably a
party.
drug addict.
I mean, yeah. Look, the idea
But you
that
can't really go missing as a flight attendant. You know,
No.
like you can't.
They're gonna find you.
hide.
Yeah, where are you blending in?
Well, to be smart, he did take off the uniform. I mean, that's right.
That's the first start.
First start.
Or first part.
Yeah.
First part.
He's like, no one will find me in here.
And they did.
And they did.
And he was naked.
Well, I wonder too. Like, did they hear like Scooby-Doo ghost penis mystery? Yeah, that's rough. And now you're arrested, and now feel bad for the guy. Maybe he pulled the baby Billy. He's like, Lord, bless this cocaine that I may dance and slay these demons on this airline. And then, he's celebrating the Lord. And next thing you know, they're arrested him. Hey, at least they dressed him.
Yeah.
And then they had to restrain him.
Now, see, I love things like this if they don't turn the plane around. Because if I'm sitting there on that flight, this is really entertaining.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I love that because it just passes the time.
Yeah.
It's a 10-hour flight.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised they didn't turn it around. They turned it around for everything else.
I know. It's kind of an upset they didn't.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
Well,
And so if they don't turn it around, I'm all for stuff like this on flights. As long as it doesn't mean my flight has to go back to San Francisco.
Is it possible, though, that it affects your service? Because now we're down to flight attendant.
Yeah, that's true.
You're in the middle like, hey, where the hell's my drink? And you're like, oh, wait, the naked guy.
That's when the beers become self-serve.
And that, yeah, I mean, you can, I don't know, would you get, I mean, oh no.
Yeah, it was an intentional.
What a terrible play.
For those not watching, a little dribbler out in front of the plate. Florida State had intentionally walked a batter to load the bases, so the catcher kind of just stumbled back and tapped home plate.
No. Did he bunt that or?
No, I think that was a
Check
swing.
swing.
Check swing. Yeah, he didn't mean that. That stinks because it's an easy out.
And now a ground ball might end the inning.
Well, I tell you, that base runner didn't do himself any
Well, it's a force out, and you can't.
I know, but get down the line.
Run!
I just want to run.
Run.
Sorry, I want to run.
He did not.
He didn't.
He did not want to run.
Run like a pitcher.
Up.
There we go.
That's gonna do it.
Oregon State wins.
How about that?
Look at that.
The Beavs down 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth, down to their last strike, and they walk it off in 10. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Dude, go Beavs. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, and suck it, Buckley.
Yeah.
Betting against these guys.
Okay. I'll probably do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, we do kind of forget sometimes that Buck's a duck.
All right. Well, anyway, that happened, and the guy got arrested. They're still investigating what.
Do they need to investigate? I mean,
probably not. But
dude, Nick got naked. He got housed, and he helicopter danced. We dressed him. We restrained him.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, you can.
Real quick. Yeah. What would happen if he weren't naked? He was just not,
dancing in
not
his
doing
uniform?
his job, dancing.
I'm guessing that you're probably okay. The
Really?
key
The key component here is nudity.
Is nudity. You can't be naked. Like, if you come into the bathroom and I've had a little something, maybe, clearly that I'm not all there. You convince me to sit down, you calm me down a little bit, and I'm fine. But when you're naked, all bets are off.
Getting naked is
it's an escalator is what it is. It's no matter what situation you're in, unless someone has invited you to get naked. And by the way, that's the key component. You have to be invited to be naked.
But it's just it's like the strongest bat signal you can send that you are not right of mind.
Yes.
Getting naked.
Yes. Something has gone wrong. There is a glitch in the matrix when you get naked. And, and once you do get naked, I don't think that there's coming back.
I don't either. Yeah, it's like it's the sign that okay, we're
it's
dealing
the
with
Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings. Things have been put in motion that cannot be undone. Once Vag or Dong has made an appearance. And by the way, it goes for females too. You just can't whip out genitalia on a plane, in a bar, wherever, and everything's fine.
Your vaginas didn't power the penis rocket to space.
Yes. It's not. Now, I will say that in the general public, the gene is much better received than penis. But there's still serious consequences. Like, I'm not certain, but I think at certain bars, you can probably whip out lady bits. And as long as they don't stay out, you're probably going to be okay. At a bar, once the captain makes an appearance, chances are a crime has been committed and
you're on a list.
The authorities are going to be on the way shortly. That's just,
Yeah. This is what we have to deal with as men.
This is what we have to deal with.
Meanwhile, Edmonton lady can flash her honkers when the Oilers score a goal, and nobody cares. Everybody loves it. It's the greatest thing ever.
We were at a names will be changed to protect the innocent, but we were out once with a client not too long ago, and some up tops came out, and it was strongly encouraged by the patron and the owner of said gentleman's establishment. We appreciate the enthusiasm. We're going to need you to put those away and just let's settle it down a little bit. And everything was fine. They were covered up. Everything was fine. Everyone moved on, had a pleasant evening. The male would not have been granted that leeway. You cannot be in a strip club, get a little excited.
Dude, they'll grab you by your collar and swing you out of there.
Yes. She was treated much nicer than any male at that place would have been for the equivalent. That's just facts.
All right.
Women privilege, right?
Yeah, it's about time someone thought
Me
of us.
too.
That's right. Cancel these ladies. Coming up next, they're calling it the best photo ever uploaded to the internet. Here's Buck.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on the Fan, down in Corvallis, a thriller at Goss Stadium. The Beavs down 4-1 in the ninth and down to their last strike. Find a way to rally to tie it in the bottom of the ninth and walk it off in the bottom of the 10th. They are 5-4 winners over Florida State and can punch their ticket to the College World Series tomorrow when they take on Florida State again for Game 2. Meanwhile, Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final going on right now as the Panthers are trying to even that series. Wild first period with 5 goals scored. It's 3-2 Edmonton in a chippy one. There's 15 minutes left in the second period of this one. Meanwhile, the Mariners back on the road tonight. They're down in Anaheim about to get started. Bryce Miller taking the ball for the M's as they take on the Halos. It'll be a 6:38 first pitch. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Market volatility isn't
on an Egyptian Air flight, or sorry, Egypt Air is what they call it, the airline, and they were flying to Cairo, and from Alexandria to Cairo. There were 55 passengers, 26 foreigners, and so they're within Egypt,
Okay.
domestic flight there. And this guy, who is a London finance bro by the name of Ben Innes, took a selfie of himself with the hijacker of the plane.
Yeah, I'm looking at this right here. How have I not heard of this before?
I haven't heard of this either until this week. But apparently, so this guy, it's just a fascinating photo. First of all, Ben Innes is smiling, but nervous smiling.
Yeah.
And then the hijacker looks very matter-of-fact, fairly put together, glasses, nice combed hair.
If I showed you this photo, you wouldn't think you wouldn't think anything of it.
Well, the thing you would think is that he has a suicide bomb strapped to his waist.
Well, yeah, but like I'm saying, at no point, if I just showed you that, do you think anything nefarious is going down?
Except for the bomb.
I can't see the like.
Oh, you're not seeing the whole picture then.
Yeah.
You can see the bomb.
He's got something strapped to his
It's
torso.
strapped to his body. He's a
Boy.
suicide bomber.
Yeah, the one I saw was from like the chest up.
Yeah, no, dude.
Yeah.
So
Say something, say something?
one of the flight attendants took the photo, and they said that they diverted once he got up and hijacked the plane.
Yeah.
They diverted it, and they landed, and they let most of the passengers off, except that he kept 7 on the plane as hostages.
Okay.
Ultimately, they ended up negotiating with him, and they arrested him.
And it turns out it was fake.
It was fake. Yeah. The bit wasn't fake.
Yeah.
His bomb was fake.
Yeah. How
So-
did he get that even on the plane?
I have no earthly idea.
Because it certainly looks the part. So even if it wasn't a real explosive, I'm guessing that as that goes through security, whether it's in your bag or not, someone would be like, "Hey, dude, that certainly looks like an explosive."
Maybe because it's not, if he brought the parts in and assembled it to look like one while he was sitting there. Like, because he didn't have anything that was actually explosive. I don't know.
But how on earth do you get the guy, like, the balls you must have to get that guy to take a photo with you? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
maybe he gets pissed. Like, he's like, no, although he's about to die.
Sure.
So, and you think he's about to die.
Yeah.
And you're all about to die. So it's like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
But
throw it to the wind.
But if you're saying, hey, let's get in this photo, you piss the guy off, and then he detonates.
Did he have did the bro, who looks very broy, did he give a reason for?
He said, yes, I have his quotes here on the fan. He says, "I'm not sure why I did it. I just threw caution to the wind while trying to stay cheerful in the face of adversity." He said the photo, which was taken by a member of the cabin crew, was the best selfie ever.
Although, can we also say it's not really a selfie, because a selfie is when you're holding the camera?
That's a valid point.
It's just a picture.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's why I called it the best photo ever uploaded to the internet, which is arguable.
Yeah.
But it's really, like, you could stare at this photo for a long time.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Can I say too that if I was on that plane, I would have been really pissed at
That it
guy.
was fake?
No.
Oh,
At
at
that guy for chumming it up with that
Yeah, I
dude?
would've been really
Like,
upset.
this ain't funny, man.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
no.
what's he...
So you decide to go up to some guy who's got a bomb, and I'm hoping at this point, right, get me to wherever you're going, and maybe we get to negotiate, and I get off the plane, and we're fine. So you have decided now, on a plane of a couple hundred people, because you want to take a silly photo, you've decided to put all of our lives. Like you said, what if it pisses the guy off? What if it makes him nervous? What if he thinks that this is all part of a scheme to grab him? I would be livid.
Is it crazy to assume at this point in time they had realized there wasn't an actual threat, that they knew it wasn't an actual bomb?
No.
Yeah, that dude's way too happy to be taking this photo then.
Dude, I would have been absolutely.
Yeah.
I would have been pissed.
There's not a lot of upside to taking that photo.
Other than you doing bits. No offense, man. You don't get to do bits when my life is on the line. Yeah.
Does it change anything that the bomb wasn't real?
No, because you didn't know that. So to say that the guy's like, I'm trying to stay calm and stay positive in the face of adversity. Hey, fat ass, no one asked you to be the plane negotiator. Sit your ass down and let someone else, like, You don't get to do that.
I'm stunned they even let anyone approach this guy.
Yeah. Well, it'd be the same thing if I'm at a bank and someone pulls out a gun. And
Hey, can you hold on real quick for a picture?
Yeah, and we're all on the ground, and someone stands up off the ground at someone who's clearly nervous and is doing something and walks over to him. But dude, what are you're going to get us all killed. Like, what do you, and it's one thing if you're trying to negotiate, so it doesn't say in here that he was trying to talk the guy down. He just decided he wanted to take a selfie. Dude, that frat boy, oh my God.
Ben Ennis.
Yeah. Dude, when we got off the plane and if we all got off, dude, my first order of business would be to punch that dude in the face. And be like, where do you get off? What? Cool selfie, bro. The guy had the potential to blow us all up.
Well, it is kind of a cool selfie.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, he's going down in internet.
Yeah.
Internet.
We're talking about
history.
him.
Yeah.
Again, also that you can go viral. This is what my whole point. Like, there'll be like mass shootings, and in the middle of mass shootings, people are taking out their phones. It's just stunning to me. We are literally living in a world where the only thing anyone cares about is getting a photo of themselves. It's baffling to me. Like, what have we become? That are our heads so far up our ass? Is there any situation you can think of where someone wouldn't want to take a photo during it? It's unbelievable. You would think, hey, dude, this may be the end. We're all may die in a fiery ball, and one guy's like, well, you know what? I'm gonna take a photo, and it's gonna look really sweet on my Instagram. Like, that's your final. You know what? My followers and my family are gonna see my sweet dumb smile right before I got blown up and potentially blew everyone else up with me.
All right, we got to wrap this biatch up because it's Friday. We got to go party.
I got to get to a bar and watch the third period of this hockey game.
Yeah, this hockey game's bananas.
3-3. 10 minutes left in the second.
We'll wrap it up next on The Fan.
It's back! Your local Toyota dealers present the 11th annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club on Tuesday, June 24th. Brought to you by Henderson and Daughter Windows and Doors and Philbrook Law, Accident and Injury Lawyers. The afternoon round is sold out, and the morning round is filling up fast. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places. Also brought to you by Pelican Brewing Company, Battery Exchange, and Maestro Dobel Tequila. Reserve your foursome now at 1080thefan.com.
Hey, it's Duke from my friends at Vulcan Design and Construction. Vulcan's team helped me build an outdoor living space that is my favorite place to hang out year-round. So stop waiting on upgrading your backyard. The plans you have for a covered patio, outdoor kitchen, or like me, a fire pit for family gatherings can be taken to the next level with the help of the award-winning designs at Vulcan. And they can upgrade your indoor living space with windows, siding, and roofing too. So whether your favorite room is inside or like mine, outside, take your home to the next level with Vulcan. Online at Vulcan DC.
From executive producer Curtis 50 Cent Jackson.
All right, everybody listen up. We starting our own label.
The Hit Stars original series BMF returns.
The music game could put us up on Connects.
Welcome to the 1995 Social War.
This is how we do it.
Don't miss the explosive return
You've started the beef jerky portion of
Jumping
the show
the gun.
a little too soon. I
I'm
think
eating some beef jerky.
you're used to us. Is that or is that turkey jerky?
Good luck to me. Says beef
Yeah,
jerky.
now. Oh, okay. Yeah, you've jumped the gun a little bit. I think you're used to us going so long.
Yeah, what are we doing on time? Boy!
That I don't. And considering we started the club maybe as late as we've ever started. So maybe that's what it is. You're just used to cutting the segment short when we go that long.
Well, let's give him some bonus content.
Whoa. Well, Buck did try to frighten me by saying, I haven't paid it. The Mets are playing tonight, or the Rockies, and Buck's like, are your Mets going to lose to the Rockies? Dude, it's 1-0 in the fourth.
I just glanced at the scoreboard and wanted to give a dig in.
It's a blowout.
I think Buck's a little butthurt after the whole Beaver sort of.
If you think that's the only bet I had brewing tonight, you would be sorely mistaken.
Well, it doesn't mean, they could all be losers.
They're not, though.
Well, I think he still has Florida State in the series.
I do.
He also has Oregon State.
I also had the under, which cashed.
And that's all that really matters.
But don't you have Oregon State too? Like, didn't you hedge it? Like, you have everybody. Like, how do you even win money?
I did not have Oregon State. I don't have any Oregon State in any capacity.
No, I thought you did.
No.
Do you have it in you to bet on the Beavs?
If I thought they were the right side, yeah.
Do you have any sort of allegiance whatsoever, or is it just to gambling? Will you bet
he
against
has allegiance to his pocketbook.
Will you bet against the Ducks?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I think that I have, like, when it comes to football season, I tend to do better betting on the teams that I follow closely, the Ducks and the 49ers, than I do against others. I think I know them better than the other teams that I bet on. And so have a better pulse for winning, losing, what their players are going to do, props, stuff like that.
Because I know you go down and, like, you went to, what Duck game did you fly to recently?
I went to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, you went to the Rose Bowl. So I know you're a Duck guy. You went to U of O, but you don't strike me as obnoxious. I hate everybody but the Duck guy.
Yeah, I there was a time probably as a collegiate student, maybe a little post-college, where I probably was douche Duck guy, but I don't really think so anymore. At some point in time, your priorities, and if you get to be a certain age and, like, the things happening with your sports things are the most impactful events in your life, there's a reevaluation that needs to happen.
Well, I'm not like Dirt is that guy. Like, Dirt is a Duck guy, and he is the definition of a douche Duck troll. Like, he's that guy. Boy. So that's not true, because he's like almost he's right around 40, and he's got a wife and a kid, and he very much
40.
I think Sprague's 40, so I think they're
right around there.
Those guys are 40?
They're late 30s, early
I'm 40.
40s.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I think everyone now, all those, like Dusty and all, I think they're all right around that, on that same age. And he certainly has not. And I guess that's what I'm used to, like, I'm used to that, because he is definitely that way on the station. He is Oregon everything. And I kind of forget sometimes that you're a Duck.
I don't know. There's an element of when you cover the teams that you like, you don't really have the luxury of being a fan for them. And I learned that back in the Bay Area. Like, I could still root for the teams that I like, but when you work on them so much, you start to separate that part of it, the emotional part of it. And so I think that's happened too.
All right. I'm going to Zubru tonight.
What is Zubru?
Not real sure, but I think you just drink.
You drinking at the zoo?
Is that like brew lights?
Yeah, it's like it's Zubru. It's you just drink a bunch of beer. There's a bunch of beer vendors there, and you get a bunch of beer and you walk around and see the animals.
I thought they called that brew lights because it was like zoo lights, but then they do it with beer.
But zoo lights, you don't even get to see the animals.
I know.
Yeah, the animals are out.
Oh, okay. So this is a different zoo beer situation.
At least that's what they're saying. I don't know.
Can I ask something? Because there's no way that you voluntarily decided to go do Zubru. One, you're going to be out somewhere after the show and not home. Two, you're not a big beer guy. This is an odd thing. So I asked.
You think it was my idea?
No, it wasn't. So is this you're doing something with a kid? Is this
no? Well, they're all going to be there, I think.
This is a family activity that you are not allowed to miss.
I mean, I could probably go home and just say, I'll catch you guys later, but I'm not going to do that. I like animals. I want to go see animals. I'll see the baby elephant.
Interesting.
Is she out yet?
I don't know.
No, I think you will have missed her visiting hours.
Rose or whatever.
Rose 2?
No, so they all have -2 at the end. So she's Tula 2. I think her mom is Rose 2.
Yeah. I just can't picture. It just doesn't seem.
It
like
was brought up by a friend,
Yeah.
and then my wife was like, "Oh, that sounds great,"
Yeah.
and so she bought tickets.
Okay.
So
Were you consulted, or it was like, "Hey, I bought tickets to this"?
no, I'm not. I've never consulted.
Yeah.
But it sounds.
So basically,
kinda,
you were told to go to Zubru, and now you're going to Zubru.
it sounds fun. I might have a funnel cake.
Oh.
I love funnel cakes. I
Yes.
haven't had a funnel cake in years.
Maybe a nice elephant. I'm assuming that. Now, I have not been to the
See, I don't
zoo.
like the elephant ear.
What?
I like funnel cakes.
My 4-year-old loves the elephant ear.
Yeah. Well, it's fried dough. I mean,
It's
who
fried
don't-
cinnamon sugar dough.
Yeah. I can't believe you don't like an elephant ear. I mean, funnel cake is delightful too, but I think there's room for both. Isn't that what the zoo is all about? Is you occasionally look at an animal, but in reality, you just eat a bunch of junk?
But this time you can drink,
Now you can drink.
which is great.
Well, enjoy Zubru.
You know what? I'm gonna.
I'm gonna go to a bar and watch this hockey game. It's no Zubru, but beers will be had.
Everybody have a great weekend. I think our show's back on Monday. Are we back Monday?
That's right.
3 to 7 on the Fan. Good night.
Chips of space.